Chapter 6297. Wan Dao Jianzun. His fingers were connected to his heart, but the pain didn't stop him. Instead, he lost the lantern in a frenzy and sat down directly, screaming in pain. Fortunately, this garden is very large and far away from the yard where people live, so it's hard to hear it if you don't listen carefully. Jian Wushuang looked a little ridiculous, and his thoughts isolated him from all around him. He was not ready to pay attention to the other party, but he didn't want the other party's voice to attract the attention of outsiders, so he cut off the sound of this place. But when he just closed his eyes, he seemed to think of the Chaijiu that the other party just said. Isn't this Chaijiu the golden snake guard he caught first? No wonder the other party will enter this rockery, and the secret road behind the rockery is very familiar. It turns out that he knows the concubine, and he often comes here. No wonder he is so familiar. Thinking that the concubine was looking for the news brought by Chaijiu, Jian Wushuang asked aloud, "Do you know the concubine?" "N." Chaijiu nodded stiffly. Xiang Yang next to him said with a wicked smile, "This guy won't have an affair with the concubine." Ah! Jiang Shang's face turned red, but he had also heard of Long Yang's goodness, so he rarely bowed his head shyly. Jian Wushuang sighed and sighed in his heart. No wonder Xinghua dislikes Xiang Yang. This guy looks like a gentleman on the surface, but he is full of male thieves and female prostitutes in his stomach. Rolling his eyes, he then asked, "What's your relationship with the concubine, and what did he entrust you to inquire about?" "Friend, I often gamble and owe a lot of money outside. It was the concubine who helped me pay off the gambling debt. I would also help the concubine to do some trivial matters. One of them was to help the concubine to inquire about a person's condition. She was the concubine's friend before he got the title, and a month ago I found out that the other party was ruined by a group of sons and brothers. The concubine was furious and asked me to investigate a few murderers. Originally it was just to have fun, but it was so coincidental." Jian Wushuang and the three of them suddenly widened their eyes and asked together, "Is that friend AZ?" "Yes," Chai Jiuzhong nodded. "It's so coincidental. The girl he met at the pier, and the person who asked him to find it turned out to be the concubine, who was squatting on the ground and crying." "Alas," Jian Wushuang sighed. "Originally, I wanted to find the heartless person and kill each other with a sword, but I didn't expect that the two were really in love, and this concubine might have something to hide. To cry so bitterly, it must be deep in love, and it hurts in my heart." Jian Wushuang took out an oiled paper letter from his arms, and just wanted to hand it to Chaijiu to let the other party hand it over to the concubine. But on second thought, he is currently so passive in Tian City, he just doesn't have a stable foothold. Perhaps it is possible to use this consort to hide in the imperial city. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang held the envelope between his index fingers and stood up voluntarily. He wants to give it to the other party himself. Whoa! Show up directly, without any hesitation. Swish! His body was suspended more than a foot above the ground, and Jian Wushuang looked down at the concubine, Chen Yuan, in front of him. "You!" Chen Yuan was taken aback and quickly stepped back. Jian Wushuang threw the letter to Chen Yuan and said sternly, "Don't be afraid. I'm just entrusted by others to deliver this letter to you." "Letter?" Chen Yuan looked at the oil paper envelope thoughtfully. At first he thought of court disputes. Above the court, all the dukes, every word and word can kill. Beneath the courtroom, swords form a forest, one step at a time, like walking on thin ice. Even if he is the concubine. So he thought of Jian Wushuang as a follower of a certain big man. This is to communicate with him privately. But when he picked up the oil paper envelope, he felt a sense of unease in his heart. Looking at the yellowed oil paper, my thoughts seemed to have returned to the summer of 3 years. In a certain village in Shanhai County, there is a small stream. On the shore, there is a man and a woman, talented and beautiful. Chen Yuan, after you go to the capital, will you come back? Yes, because I promised your parents that I would marry you, and of course I would come back, but it will take more than a year for you to go. I can write to you, but I can't write. Then use drawing. But I don't have money to send letters. The young scholar flipped through the book, but stared at the girl and said, "Then draw everything you want to say to me, and hand it to me when I come back. No, over time the paper will rot. Use oil paper. 3 years at a glance. Holding the oil paper envelope, Chen Yuan felt like a sting in his throat, like a thorn on his back, and his scalp shook. He thought about it, but couldn't believe it. That girl is just a fishing village girl. How could there be a Shangxian who can entrust letters? But when he opened the oil paper envelope and saw the crooked writing on it, his eyes instantly turned red and bloodshot spread. Ah, purple. Chen Yuan covered his mouth and tried his best to maintain his mood and form, but he was still too heartbroken to straighten up. In the world of 80,000 words, only love words hurt people the most. Jian Wushuang sighed in his heart, but on the surface he was still ready to scare the other party. Chen Yuan, you heartless man, it's a pity that Miss Azzy is waiting for you at the pier all day, but you are the concubine in Taiyan City, and you are worthy of Miss Azzy? His voice was like a bell, as if it is to teach juniors in general. Chen Yuan nodded like a chicken eating rice, and said in a hoarse voice, "It's me who's wrong. It's me who failed him. Since you are clear, then prepare to die. Miss Azzy once saved my life at sea. Today, I helped her kill you, a heartless man, and then go and avenge her." After Jian Wushuang finished speaking, he drew his sword, ready to kill each other. But what he didn't expect was that the other party didn't shout or scream. So he held his neck, and prepared to wait for death. This will make Jian Wushuang unable to fix it. Although Chen Yuan is indeed deeply in love with Azzy, he is so calm in the face of death, which makes him a little impressed. Since this set doesn't work, let's change it. Jian Wushuang didn't plan to kill Chen Yuan at first. The long sword was placed on the opponent's neck, but there was no killing intent in his eyes. "Senior, let's do it." Chen Yuan twisted his neck, waiting for death. Faced with this situation, Jian Wushuang naturally had a backup plan. Looking at Chen Yuan, he said solemnly, "Haha, Azzy really didn't see the wrong person. And he wasn't even afraid of death. It seems that you never went back in the capital. Presumably there is another reason. I just tested you. If you are greedy for life and afraid of death, I will kill you with one sword, and then go to find the murderer of Miss Azzy. Now that you are a man, I will spare your life. But Azzy's death, I can't let go of it for the rest of my life." Chen Yuan's face was like a withered smile. He didn't have any joy for the rest of his life. Instead, he was a little disappointed. Just now he was really ready to die. Jian Wushuang can understand this kind of mood. And the next step is his superb comfort and guidance, which quickly shaped him into a stalwart image of an overseas immortal who has just entered the world. And when Azzy rescued him, he also explained the loss of strength in detail, so that the logic would be smooth and not make the other party suspect. Chapter 6298. Don't look at the concubine now crying bitterly, without any pretense and shrewdness. But Jian Wushuang knows that such a ruthless character, who can endure, is not afraid of death. As long as his emotions are stable, he will consider his identity, origin, and purpose. Therefore, Jian Wushuang must prepare the ground in advance. And he must also say that he does not know much about the Tang dynasty, and he is here to make breakthroughs. At the same time, he exaggerated his own cultivation. Jindan is invincible. I came here to break through the cultivation base and be promoted to infant transformation. The cultivator of the Jindan stage is already a big man, but it is nothing to the entire Eastern Land Tang dynasty. But to a concubine, he is also an immortal, and Jian Wushuang has also become a master of Jindan perfection. Come here just to break through the baby. Chen Yuan also realized it later. First, he was saddened by Azzy's death, and then he started to take revenge. The more they chatted under the peach blossom tree, the more speculative they became. "You kid looks harmless to humans and animals, but you have such ruthless methods. I didn't even think about it. I thought I would understand if I caught those beasts and beheaded them. Listening to you, I'm going to make the other party full of people." Jian Wushuang pretended to be surprised. Chen Yuan felt that it was not enough, and said in a cold voice, "It's not a pity for these beasts to die. We must let them despair first when they are alive. I will use all my contacts to destroy several gatekeepers in Shanghai County. I will let them completely disappear like never came to this world. Jian Wushuang looked at Chun Yuan, who was caught in hatred, and wanted to pat the other party's shoulder and say a word. Young man, you are so angry. It's just that he didn't open his mouth to remind, but nodded and reconsidered. Vengeance is only happy for me, and I was going to kill those directly. But since you are Miss Az's sweetheart, how to take revenge is up to you. If you need it, you can find me. When Chen Yuan heard it, he quickly persuaded. Senior, it's better to stay in the mansion. The inspection of the immortal guards in this city is very strict, and my identity is special. I may be in trouble if I want to meet. Haha, it's just a little Zhang Xianwei. Who is my opponent other than the big commander? Jian Wushuang stood with his hands down, showing arrogance, but he changed the subject and said, I think this yard is not bad. I will settle down here first, and when the matter of Miss Azzy is resolved, I should prepare for the practice of cultivation. After just mentioning it a few times, Chen Yuan really remembered it in his heart. Although he didn't say it, he had already thought about how to repay him. Although the other party didn't say anything, Jian Wushuang could see what the other party was thinking at a glance, which could not be hidden from him. Okay, you can go back quickly, although I am free in Tian City, but you are different, you are now the concubine. Jian Wushuang said deliberately yin and yang strangely. However, Chen Yuan thought he was angry, and said bitterly, I and the princess are only in name. She hangs out with her face all day, and I haven't shouldered shoulders with her for several days. Even if I find out that I'm not in the room at night, she won't care. Jian Wushuang was naturally aware of this situation, and he could detect hundreds of people in the princess mansion with a single movement of his will. His figure disappeared in the blink of an eye. Chen Yuan had also seen such an immortal method, and was not surprised. After sorting out his face, he picked up the lantern, and walked out of the yard directly. The sky was slightly bright, and the Red Sea swept in from the east, and the pressure of darkness was retreating. The heavy rain also stopped at this moment. In the early morning, when all things held their heads high, the entire Tian city became lively again. As if nothing happened last night. Zhang Xianwei also retreated one by one, but there was no relaxation at the gate of the city. There are 4 gates in and out of Tian City. The first is the Palace Gate, the second is the Imperial Gate, the third is the Official Gate, and the fourth is the City Gate. One layer is stricter than the next. This was all because of the movement made by Jian Wushuang last night, which prevented Zhang Xianwei from slackening. Outside Zhangxianlu, Yang Xiao rubbed his eyes and walked out. It's really tiring. Playing chess with the commander is more tiring than patrolling outside. Dragging his tired body, Yang Xiao led the horse towards the palace gate. At this time, I happened to meet various officials from the next dynasty. The two sides just had a face-to-face, each with a black face. The of Zhang Xianwei have not yet figured out the destruction of the Jiang country. They are really rubbish, and they will only lie in their nests. That's right. If it wasn't for the concubine's personal report today, I wouldn't know that the powerful people of Jiang country have all gone to Shanghai County. Fortunately, they are fugitives. If the army overwhelms the border, wouldn't it delay the war opportunity? Gong Gong Zhu Gong. The more he said, the more serious he wanted to kill Yang Xiao on the spot. If it was in the past, Yang Xiao would definitely be sarcastic, but now he really can't say it. He could only ignore everyone, and walked out of the palace gate with the whip. On the way, he became more and more angry. Have you all retreated to Tian City from the original supervision of the quartet? Yang Xiao couldn't help but sigh. The former Zhang Xianwei was only one of the names in the capital, and he was a supervising official. He was not strict with the curfew and the control of Tian City, but he knew the entire eastern land, and even the southern heaven realm, the northern territory. The glacier has inspectors, but now, Jiang country in the southern heaven realm was destroyed. They didn't know anything, and they didn't send anyone to investigate. Being ridiculed, you can only recognize it by pinching your nose. The sects from all over the eastern land are riding on their heads and pooping without paying any attention, and even helplessly watching His Majesty reuse the people of the demon sect. Chilling. Why is your majesty like this? The commander's heart is handed over to you. The more Yang Xiao thought about it, the more angry he became. But there was nowhere to go. But the counterattack is about to start. He played chess with the commander last night, and he received a special task. Investigate what the Holy Church is doing outside. This is a signal that a counterattack is about to come. Over the years, the demon sect has been rampant, and it is time to pay the price by relying on the court to do all the bad things. And this matter was planned by the great commander behind the scenes. Even His Majesty could not keep the other party. Yang Xiao frowned and sneered, went straight to the outside of Tian City. After leaving the city gate, he abandoned his horse. A cultivator at the Jindan stage can do it 1,000 miles in a day, not to mention that Yang Xiao is still the best among them. He arrived at Mongshan County, which is thousands of miles away, in just one morning. Small book booth. This place is the first county outside the capital, and it is stationed all year round to guard against the big monsters and barbarians in the northern region. There are often small-scale wars, and dead people are also common. What a strong death chi! As soon as Yang Xiao entered Mongshan County, he felt a strong sense of death. That death energy moved him. Even if he fought for years, such a powerful death energy would never appear. And there was a tinge of resentment in it. The deeper he went into Mongshan County, the stronger Yang Xiao felt. Chapter 6299. Chapter 6299. Surrounding Stop and Go, walked for 2 days in a row, and strolled around Mongshan County, but Yang Xiao didn't even see a figure. In pursuit of that dead energy, he finally entered Mongshan County. At dusk, Mongshan City is booming. Many peddlers and pawns rushed into the city. There are still many northern barbarians rushing into the city with the goods carried by the monsters. Although there is often friction, the mutual market still does not stop, and even sometimes the two sides fight hard. And the business is still going on as usual. Datong sells ordnance and Baiman sells cattle and sheep iron ore. Both sides are also very tacit, not to do anything to the caravan. Yang Xiao, as the 6 coins slaying a mortal guard, is not surprised by this. Besides, he is here for the demon sect this time. Qiyang sect. It is declared to be a holy fire of gods. In fact, everyone knows that it is a complete demon. No one knows where the Qiyang sect is headquartered, but there are several branches, all of which are located in several counties around Datong. That's why Yang Xiao entered the city. I originally planned to go to various places to see if I could find some clues before entering the city, but neither of them were seen. Those villages were also extremely desolate, as if they had not been inhabited for a long time. This is a large county that relies on the capital. Tens of thousands of households once migrated, but now there are 10 households and 10 empty houses. Yang Xiao felt an inexplicable unease in his heart. The closer he got to the city gate, the more dignified the dead aura became. Going quickly, the city gate will be closed after a stick of incense. You all have to wait outside for tomorrow. The soldiers guarding the city gate kept urging, but those caravans were still indifferent. Even the scattered people were the same, walking with their heads lowered, ignoring them, as if they hadn't heard those words. The alert Yang Xiao immediately noticed something was wrong. Caravans are afraid of bandits and demons when they spend the night outside, not to mention those individual tourists. If it were Heisei, the gatekeepers would have been squeezing inside with such a shout. Or can you be so careless? And the shouting soldier seemed to have no idea that his words had no effect, and was still giggling aside. Yang Xiao frowned, stopped, muttered silently in his mouth, swiped his fingers towards his eyes, and the golden light appeared. Heaven's eye. Open, hum. His eyes suddenly turned golden, scanning everything in front of him. What? Even though he was the well-informed Yang Xiao, he couldn't help but scream. Outside the entire city gate. Where is there any living thing? Everything I saw before was a walking corpse. There were large holes in each chest. The face was already rotten. The eyes were hanging on the corners of the mouth, and the eyes were dark. The soldiers who defended the city even turned into skeletons, with only a suit of armor. Could it be that the whole Mongshan County is like this? Yang Xiao felt a chill in his heart. If this is the case, I am afraid that the entire Tang dynasty is not much better now. This is the first county outside the capital. Just when Yang Xiao was shocked, a row of people in black robes appeared on the tower. The head of the one, wearing a black robe and covering his head, could not see his appearance, but there was a mark of fire on his chest. Don't ask, it's from the Qiang sect. You still found it. The black-robed man sighed. Yang Xiao did not panic at all, looked up at the man in black robe and sneered. Little trick, are you fooling the ghost? Yes, it's just fooling you, ghost. The voice fell, and the 9 men in black robes on the city wall started to move in unison. Each is a late stage of Jindan. Every strength is close to Yang Xiao. These are the 9 strongest people in Mongshan County. And they are also all the late Jindan powerhouses of Qiang sect in Mongshan County. The 9 people joined forces to besiege Yang Xiao together. But the reason why Yang Xiao is calm is because he is not afraid. People who are not afraid of the same country. Even the great King Kong Fengjue, master of Baoguang Temple. He has the power to fight, not to mention these small demons. Although it is in the late stage of Jindan, there are various opinions, and the magic power cultivated is only a cultivation technique to improve the realm, and it is not suitable for combat at all. Yang Xiao took out a long spear and made a full circle. The terrifying combat power directly scared the 3 black-robed men back. This Yang Xiao is really scary. It's not a loss to be the strongest in the Golden Crow Guards comparable to Changfeng. Even so, he can't get out of Mongshan County today. Kill. The 9 people surrounded him again, each using different means, trying to kill Yang Xiao on the spot. The battle outside the city shocked the birds and beasts in the jungle. A crow also called a few times in cooperation with the branches, raised its head and leaked red eyes, looked at the battle scene, flapped its wings and flew away. Taiyan City, the immortal slaying tower in the palace. On the top floor, the great commander is still aback. On the originally quiet top floor, the breeze floated, and a black mist condensed into a human shape, and said in a hoarse voice, Master, Yang Xiao and the people of Qiang sect fought, and they are likely to die. Kindness. The Grand Commander standing by the window put his hands in the cloak, and just gave a soft sigh, as if he had already understood the matter. Can you save his life? The figure in the black mist asked cautiously. The Great Commander turned his head slightly and said calmly, Our Majesty is the least willing to suffer losses. If we want to destroy his Qiang sect, we will have to lose some manpower, so that he can better balance himself. My subordinate understands. The black mist slowly dissipated. The palace, the hall of mental cultivation. Du Khan was not in the hall today, but was guarding outside the hall, because a big man came to the hall tonight. Even he had to bow his head and wait outside the door. Kindness. Han Gong frowned, feeling someone approaching, and said in a hoarse voice, What is it? Let you run in person. Whoa. An old man wearing a black robe suddenly appeared in front of the hall. His eyes were waxy white. His face was like a haggard, and he had no expression. Even his voice was like a puppet. The matter of Mongshan County can't be covered. What? The always calm Du Khan widened his eyes and frowned. Your Qiang sect has arranged 9 late Jindans. So can Yang Xiao escape? Besides, there is also a statue in the city. Yang Xiao concealed his strength, and now his strength is no longer under Fengjue. After the white-eyed old man finished speaking, he turned his head to look inside the hall, and said dully, Hurry up and inform your majesty. It's not easy to fool the immortal Zhanwei. After saying that, the white-eyed old man turned and left. Han Gong looked at the back of the other party and gritted his teeth, but he could only turn around and enter the hall. In the dimly lit hall, 2 figures sat opposite each other. I know the matter. You go to Zhangxianlu yourself, and ask the old guy what he wants. As long as he can stop his mouth, I will give it. Han Gong retreated after hearing the sound. Ugh. Tang Huang, who was wearing a Taoist robe, sighed, unable to see his face in the dark. The man in the opposite seat said with a half-smile, Why, you can't even restrain your own subordinates. How about I get rid of him for you? Do you think this is child's play? Whoever wants to die can die. Tang Huang's face changed, and he said in a deep voice, This old guy is a close minister of the late emperor, and the forces he has cultivated are planted in the entire eastern land. Even if he has lost a lot of wings over the years, I can't do it now if I want to move to him. If it was 3 years ago, I might have shot him, but I will never forget the lessons from 3 years ago. Chapter 6300. Wan Dao Jianzun Chapter 6300 Material Crystallization. It seems that her death has indeed changed your temperament. The figure on the opposite side slowly got up, walked to the window and stopped, then smiled lightly. The current progress is still too slow. You have to hurry up, or Daluo will come, and you will not be able to meet your requirements. Several branches of Qiyang sect are constantly gathering, and they will soon be able to gather enough. There will be a batch of immortal essence tonight, and I will trouble the immortal master later. Tang Huang actually bowed to the man at this moment, and his expression was extremely respectful. Chopping Immortal Tower. Chang Feng took Han Gong up to the top floor, glanced at the great commander, and voluntarily retreated. Yang Xiao's affairs are not what I want, I can't control it, and I don't want to control it. If you have the ability, go out to the city and kill him in person. I won't stop it. When Duke Han's expression changed, he didn't even offer any conditions, and the always domineering commander of the Immortal Slaying Guard was simply subdued. For a while he was a little untenable and said uncertainly, "Really? Have I ever told a lie?" The chief commander sneered. The two had nothing to talk about, and they had already got the answer they wanted, and Duke Han disappeared directly into the Immortal Slaying Tower. The figure flew out of the city. Intercept Yang Xiao. It's just that he didn't understand a little in his heart. Why did this great commander do this? What does it do for him? With such an opportunity, even if he didn't trip over the entire Qiyang sect, he would at least kill a few unsightly people. He didn't expect any conditions, so he agreed directly. The thoughtful Duke Han became more and more confused, but when he just walked out of the third city gate, he sensed a group of monks from the Qiyang sect, and he suddenly understood. Not good. At this moment, 9 teams of Qiyang sect cultivators entered the imperial city in batches. But when they just entered the imperial city, hundreds of auras suddenly appeared around them. All of them were cultivators of Jindan period. There are also 2 teams of Jin Wuwei personally shot. Haha, it's you who are waiting. Chang Feng fell from the sky, squinted and glanced at the people in the Qiyang sect, and shouted angrily. Take all of them, dare to resist, stand up. Yes. Hundreds of golden snake guards and dozens of golden crow guards shot out instantly. When Duke Han came back, he realized that it was too late. This battle shocked many people. At the same time, Duke Han was amazed by the great commander's handwriting and his ability to cover up so many Immortal Slaying Guards' aura. Tonight's wind and rain even bigger. The princess mansion was full of singing and dancing. The back garden where Jian Wushuang was hiding was still dark, but he was very satisfied. He was able to stabilize Entire City, and by the way, use Chun Yuan to relieve the cultivation world of the eastern land, and then there will naturally be a treasure hunt. At the moment he is playing with a black square. Material crystallization. Is it possible that it was left behind when the comprehension world was broken? Jian Wushuang had doubts in his heart. This is what he found on Zhan Xianwei. Now 2 days have passed, and he threw the 2 immortal sword guards into the street. He thought that the princess mansion would have to be searched, but after 2 days no one came to search. Just now, he felt the turmoil in the outside world again. Presumably, the city of Tian is really not peaceful, so he can't care about him. So I turned to study material crystallization. The thought power that burned last time has been restored, and he is not afraid of infant transformation now. So he is so confident. The power in this material crystal is really not small, enough for me to reach the golden core consummation. But just relying on the power in the material alone cannot make me turn into an infant. Jian Wushuang's heart moved, holding the crystal in one hand, and scrupulously swallowing the violent power inside. The power of the material world is still very powerful. Just such a small piece of 2 or 3 caddies can make him reach the golden core consummation. If you get 100,000 caddies, it is enough to be invincible in the world. And this kind of swallowing method, only he can do it, Others can't do it at all. Even Xiangyang can't do it. A little golden snake guard actually has such a treasure. And it's just used to hide his qi? What a waste of money. Jian Wushuang was very satisfied with the material crystals that have been absorbed cleanly. If there is one, there are two. And maybe there are people who have material crystals on their bodies. This is much more useful than those heaven and earth treasures. Brother Wushuang, you have developed this time. And you have become a complete golden core. And you can get me one to absorb it anytime. Xiangyang stared greedily at the absorbed material crystal, his eyes almost popping out. He saw with his own eyes that Jian Wushuang's breath improved a lot in just one stick of incense. And he was very envious. Jian Wushuang threw the crystals away and said indifferently, "You can't absorb it. This is a unique secret method I created at the beginning, although the strength is gone. But I still remember the reason clearly. As long as there are two more pieces, I will if I can transform into a baby. No one in this Tang dynasty can stop me. And the treasures of heaven and earth are not just for you to choose." "That's right, you're invincible, which means I'm invincible, haha. I'm really looking forward to the moment when you regain your full strength." Xiangyang looked envious. He has seen how powerful Jian Wushuang is when he regains his full strength. It's just a pity that what he saw was not Jian Wushuang's deity. If Jian Wushuang's deity appeared, this world would not be able to stop it, and it would have been smashed with a single sword. Jian Wushuang also smiled, and said the most domineering words in the most indifferent tone. "The moment I return to the peak, I will make this world regret it was created." The next day it was just dawn. Outside the palace of the princess, the carriage was prepared early. The concubine went to court every day. Although he lived in the imperial city, it was still more than 10 kilometers away, so he naturally had to take a carriage. Chen Yuan walked out of the house, raised his hand, adjusted his clothes, and got on the carriage. Sitting in the luxurious carriage, he kept demonstrating in his heart the matters that would be reported in the morning. In the past few days, he has participated in Shanghai County several times in a row, and it has already played a big role. There are already court commissioners who have gone to receive Jiangguo refugees. It is said that they are refugees, but who does not know that they are refugees? And the whole is a luxury fleet. Each is soft with gold and silver. Anyone who goes there will be able to get oil and water. Originally, only the local gatekeepers in Shanghai County could get the benefits. This time, Chen Yuan made a fuss and was directly accepted by the imperial court. This is just the first step, far from enough. It's just that things in the courtroom can't be rushed, and it must be done step by step. Outside the palace gate, a sparse number of dozens of court officials are going to court together. Chen Yuan himself is the consort, and the official worships the third-rank imperial envoy. This is noble, and even if he is from the third rank, he is a high-ranking officer, far exceeding the top officials of the county governor. The concubine is also very early today. The past few days, the concubine has been very beautiful, and Shanghai County is going to have an earthquake this time. One by one, these people were either mocking or flattering. Chapter 6301. Because the concubine can be a man, and even an official. Above the court, all the princes are very optimistic about this concubine, mainly because the princess is the sister of the present majesty, the sister of the same father and mother. With such an identity, Chen Yuan has the first aid. Everyone is serious. This is just a matter of the official's rank. Chen Yuan is very humble, but he keeps his secrets. He still has a big melon to explode today. Just wait. If this happened today, it would be choking them. The concubine, who is harmless to humans and animals on the surface, has murderous intentions in his heart. Stepping into the main hall, above the court, the princes have already taken their places. Even the always mysterious and unpredictable commander of Zhangxianlu came early. His appearance made many people puzzled. In the eyes of the courtiers, this is the guarantor of the imperial power, and a close minister of His Majesty. Generally, he does not go to court. If anything happens, he will report it to the Tang Emperor as soon as possible. Today he went to court early. Obviously something happened. How did he come? Chen Yuan lined up from the bottom of his heart, and when he looked at the great commander, there was hatred and fear in his eyes. The people in the court more or less have some grudges with Zhang Xianlu, because Zhang Xianlu is not only a terrible force to maintain the cultivation world, but also has the right to supervise hundreds of officials. Even the concubine is afraid, not to mention other people. Once it is targeted by Zhang Xianlu, it will be taken off the floor if it doesn't die. Skin. Old Yen Ge, this great commander, went to court today, but because of Shanghai County? Among the civil servants, everyone was trembling. Old Yen Ge, who was headed by him, raised his brows and said sarcastically, "A does what he does." As for Shanghai County, it is the most important county town along the coast of the Tang dynasty. Kill the immortal guard. Yin Zhong, the figure in the power center of the Tang dynasty, the head of the 6 ministries, the first assistant of the cabinet, is the figure of the Tang dynasty under one person and more than 10 million people. Only he would not be afraid of Zhang Xianwei, because he is also a close minister of Emperor Tang, even closer than the Grand Commander of Zhang Xianlu. So I don't worry about Zhang Xianwei throwing dirty water on him. With the Emperor's protection, it is enough to run rampant. Of course, he himself must have enough strength, not only the strength of an official, but also the strength of the family. The Yin family came from Changshui County, Mongshan County. Their ancestors came from Emperor Wuzong 600 years ago. Although they were military generals, the entire Yin family was transformed into a civil official family because of Yin Zhong's father. In just a few decades, the Yin family has become a famous family in the Tang dynasty, and at the moment when Yin Zhong became the first assistant of the cabinet, it has grown to its peak. Above the court, whether it is a civil official or a military general, they all look at the head of the cabinet. As for His Majesty, he has been busy with cultivation, and the heavy responsibility of the society naturally falls to the old man of Yang'e. The cabinet was also set up because of him, which shows the trust of Emperor Tang in him. Speaking of which, Yin Zhong's father was a veteran of the 3 dynasties, and Yin Zhong himself was also a minister of the 2 dynasties, and also a minister of the former emperor's entrustment. So the Tang emperor trusted him so much and put all the power in the cabinet. Even in the early morning, most of the time they don't come, it's the first auxiliary platform. However, in the past few days, a document from the concubine has shaken the entire court in opposition. The reason for this shock is also interesting. The consort of the main ginseng is for revenge. The princes of the court were to throw dirty water on Zhang Xianwei, because there was no detailed information about Jiangguo's destruction, not even as much as the fishermen in Shanghai County knew. And in NBSB as a result, the dukes took the Immortal Guard army and helped the concubine. The 2 sides naturally came together. Don't look at the concubine's son-in-law, but behind the whole Xuangui group. Today's cooperation between the 2 parties is bound to make Zhang Xianwei peel off. Now that the commander of Zhang Xianwei is here, it is also because of this matter in their opinion. Once this matter has an effect, they will become hungry wolves, to smash the immortal sword guard, or replace them with their own people. This is the battle in the court, and in an instant the flesh and blood of the opponent can be torn apart. If you don't pay attention, you will raid the house and destroy the door. This kind of fight is like dancing with swords. There was only one spectator in the audience, and that was the emperor. The bell rang, and a middle-aged man wearing a black dragon-patterned robe appeared above the hall. His face was resolute, and he had an indescribable noble aura all over his body. This aura overcame the immortal aura of the practitioner. He is the Emperor Guangfu of the Tang dynasty Li Miao. Go up! With the sharp voice of the eunuch, the early morning also began. Today's theme is the concubine's angry criticism of Shanghai County, which is intended to slash the immortal tower. Of course, the theme generally does not enter too quickly, and there must be some foreshadowing. First of all, some trivial matters were solved by Yin Zhong and Yin Ge, and Tang Huang didn't even listen. He kept his eyes closed and frowned. This made Yin Zhong a little surprised. His Majesty has always been a calm person. Why is he frowning all the time today? Officials are best at observing words and expressions. Seeing that Emperor Tang was a little unhappy, he winked and asked his concubine to fight, and brought up today's theme. This matter. Yesterday he passed the anger with Tang Huang. One of the good things about the cabinet is that it can report directly to Emperor Tang. In fact, many things had already been approved by Emperor Tang, or the cabinet in advance, when they were reported to the early morning. But it was not just what they wanted to say. Because time is limited, after receiving the promise from the old man, the concubine Chun Yuan took a step forward, with a serious expression and a solemn tone. Report to your majesty, Shanhai County is willing to accept Jianggua's refugees, many of whom are powerful people in Jianggua. These people not only carry gold and silver soft and armored, such an important matter, Shanhai County has concealed it for several months. Opposite, this word is very sensitive in the courtroom, because it involves not an individual, but a group, and that is something that will collectively lose their heads. After hearing the concubine's beating, Emperor Guangfu suddenly opened his eyes and looked straight at the concubine Chun Yuan, his own brother-in-law. Strictly old, why have I never heard of Jianggua's affairs? Emperor Tang turned his attention to Yan Zhong. It seems that he is questioning the poor governance of the country, but he is actually targeting the commander of Zhengxianhui. It's just that he can't directly target the big commander, and now it's time for Yan Zhong to solve his problems. Go back to your majesty. Yan Zhong cupped his hands and said, the matter of Jianggua has been following up since he got the information of Zhang Xianwei a year ago. I went to the Ministry of War to study, but this follow-up was suddenly interrupted half a year ago. The minister is in the capital, the place of his own, and he is really powerless. Please forgive me. After some words, Yan Zhong said nothing. First, he praised Zhang Xianwei and indicated their respective positions. One is to oversee the world, and the other is to govern the world. Chapter 6302. One eye and one hand. Each performed their duties. When Zhang Xianwei had information, they did everything they were supposed to do, and they kept following up on Jianggua's affairs. And now the reason why there is no follow-up is because there is no information about Zhang Xianwei. However, Yan Zhong pleaded guilty to His Majesty. But smart people can see that this is all because of Zhang Xianwei's intelligence problem, and has nothing to do with Galao. Don't wait for Tang Huang to speak. Civil and military officials have spoken out to persuade. Your Majesty, the old cabinet manages the cabinet and summarizes the affairs of the world. This failure of supervision is not under the control of the cabinet. Your Majesty, please enlighten me. His Majesty. A series of persuasion, but no one pointed directly at Zhang Xianwei. They are all smart people, and they know that even if Your Majesty commits the crime of Zhang Xianwei, he will not really give the Zhang Xianwei a pot. If you are offended severely, and you will be retaliated against in the future, it will be difficult. This kind of thing, Yan Ge has long expected. Some people are afraid, some people are not afraid. For example, the people who Zhang Xianwei offended. Among the 100 officials, a skinny old man with white hair walked out slowly, his hands tremblingly bowed. Although he had reached the age of obsession, the moment he opened his mouth, it was thunderous. Sir, death advice. Zhengxianhui colluded with Jianggua's remaining evildoers, hiding and not reporting, with ulterior motives. It was my Tang dynasty's injury. I ask Your Majesty to abolish the Zhengxianlu. A sentence filled the room with shock. Yan Zhong also took a deep breath and said sadly, Yu Wangya. The rest of the officials did not dare to answer. This sentence carries too much weight. Death remonstrance, that will really die. And it is still participating in the immortal slaying guard. And the great commander is still in the hall. Many people secretly went to see the great commander of Zhang Xianwei, wanting to see how the great would fight back. Outsiders think that Zhang Xianwei can only kill people, but they don't know that this great commander once used power to suppress the court. If it weren't for the fact that Emperor Tang had been leaning towards the cabinet in order to maintain the political situation, how could all the dukes dare to jump like this? Uncle Huang, why are you doing this? Tang Huang looked a little surprised. Not only the Emperor Guangfu, but the concubine was also stunned. He didn't expect things to escalate so quickly. There was no way he had just become the concubine for 2 years, and he had very little experience with the court, so he couldn't see through the final plan of these old foxes. Especially the one on the dragon chair. Stir it, you can just stir it. The more chaotic the better. The Shanghai County will be turned upside down. The concubine's heart sank and watched the development of the situation. Lord Yu is the head of the Xuangui group. He has given advice to death. And the rest of the honorable people also know that this time they will be ruthless. After hesitating, they also gave advice, advocating the abolition of the immortal slaying tower. At this time, Yan Zhong, the chief assistant of the cabinet, was standing by, and no one helped. He was in charge of setting up the fire, and left the rest. And the concubine Chen Yuan was just the one who set the fire. For a time above the court, words encouraged. Emperor Guangfu frowned, but he didn't speak, but his eyes looked at the commander from time to time, but his heart was full of joy. Abolished the immortal slaying tower. He hadn't thought about it before. Some things could be tolerated, but what happened last night was unbearable. If he continued to endure like this, his good deeds would be ruined sooner or later. But the current Zhangxianlu is too big to fall. Although it has been cut several times, the supreme ruler of the Zhangxianlu has always been the grand commander. And this is an old minister who has been loyal to the late emperor. It's impossible to beat it all at once. What's more balance? Seeing that the situation was almost over, Emperor Guangfu rubbed his eyebrows and said tiredly, Commander Wei, do you have anything to explain to me? Steps. After hearing this sentence, the lower officials were shocked, knowing that His Majesty was going to protect the immortal tower again. Now that we have found a step for Commander Wei, just say 2 beautiful words, take the initiative to plead guilty, and be punished for a 1.5 years of salary, and it will be over. Then everything you just did was in vain. Yu Wang's eyes dazzled and he almost fell down. He had waited for this opportunity for many years. Wei Jiuxian gritted his teeth with hatred. Back then, he wanted to seek a chance for his eldest son to become an immortal because he privately divided the spirit mine in the fief, but was discovered by Zhang Xianwei, who killed his son on the spot, and the entire spirit mine was confiscated. How could he not hate it? He didn't dare to hate His Majesty, but he still had the courage to hate this eunuch, and he was very big. Your Majesty, I am the great Tang dynasty in the east, sitting on 1,000,000 miles of fertile soil and hundreds of millions of people. But I must not put the Tang dynasty into embarrassment because of a eunuch, otherwise the old man will have no face to see his ancestors. Emperor Guangfu's eyelids twitched, and his brows furrowed even deeper. This time, he said it was in his heart. In such a situation, there was no one to speak up in the court. They are all waiting for Emperor Tang's attitude. Alas! Emperor Guangfu sighed, stood up slowly, glanced over the hall, and said angrily, Wei Aiqing, this matter was caused by the killing of the immortal guard. Do you have an explanation? In the end he aimed at Wei Jiuxian. This is also the same as the beginning of the calculation. Take the things of today for the handle of yesterday. Emperor Guangfu was also very helpless when he was the emperor, but for the sake of above the court, Wei Jiuxian finally raised his head after hearing Emperor Guangfu speak. He turned slowly, his eyes scanning everything. Then he turned his head to look at Emperor Guangfu, and said in a serious tone, I have nothing to explain, but I have to beat up your Majesty. The matter of Mongshan County has already affected the capital, and the demon sect is raging in the east, and the 9 counties in the southeast have been affected. There are 10 rooms and 9 empty spaces, and there are no living people to see. This is a major event related to the Tang dynasty, not something that a small border country can compare to. As soon as this word comes out, shocked, 10 rooms and 9 empty spaces? The 9 southeastern counties? They have been living in the land of the capital, and the real situation of the outside world has only received some approvals. How can I not be surprised to hear Wei Jiuxian say that the 9 southeastern counties have become so serious that there is no living person in sight? The cabinet old Yan Zhong was the first to stand up and criticize angrily. It's ridiculous, it's absolutely ridiculous. There are tens of millions of entrances to the 9 counties in the southeast. How can there be 10 rooms and 9 empty spaces? The Tang dynasty has been in good weather in recent years, and there is no war or plague to follow. Food disaster. How could so many people die? Lord Yan. Wei Jiuxian looked at him and said coldly, I said it's the demon sect raging. This sentence directly refers to the Emperor Guangfu. Everyone in the hall knew that Emperor Guangfu had planned to establish Qiyang sect as the state religion these years, and Qiyang sect was a complete demonic sect. In the eyes of civil and military officials, Qiyang sect has always been honest and has not done anything out of the ordinary in these years. But now I hear that the Qiyang sect is doing something wrong, and the bald donkeys are tens of millions of people, and each of them can't stand. Chapter 6303. 6303 Chapter Guangfu Emperor Li Miao. Impossible. I also received a memorial from the 9 southeast counties a few days ago. That's my disciple. The minister of the Ministry of Housing was full of surprise. The same is true for the Minister of Officials, who retorted. Hundreds of officials are dispatched to the 9 southeastern counties every year, and they will return to Dizizi by the end of the year. If such a big thing happens, how can they hide it? For a time, all the officials in the hall questioned. Wei Jiuxian smiled indifferently, and with a flick of his finger, a spark appeared, and he instantly turned into a figure. King of Desire. Everyone was surprised. A spark became the King of Desire, and the appearance was exactly the same. Immediately after several changes, it evolved into a number of high-ranking officers in the court. Everyone was amazed. All fake. After Wei Jiuxian finished speaking, he put away this small trick. The trick is to deceive civil and military officials, but it cannot deceive Zhang Xianwei. Since Qiangzong helped Emperor Guangfu, he discovered this matter. It was because a dish in the immortal slaying tower was killed, and then reappeared. According to the investigation, we found out that the latter was a puppet. Because of this matter, he asked Tang Huang to question, but Tang Huang told him vaguely that if there is no land, there will be no loss of land, but if the land is lost, there will be no one. The meaning is obvious. For the sake of the Tang dynasty, the people will suffer again. A eunuch eats imperial food and must relieve his majesty's worries. This is a normal thing. But Wei Jiuxian couldn't do it. Your Majesty, please see clearly. Wei Jiuxian bowed and saluted. Even if he loses this position today, he will let the affairs of the 9 southeastern counties come out. Because the witnesses are all there. No one can reverse the case. For a while, the silence in the hall made people hairy. Even Yu Wang, who hated Wei Jiuxian to his bones, stopped talking, because his personal grudge was far from Datong's foundation. If Datong didn't have the surname Li, he would not have the wealth he is today. Emperor Guangfu frowned, took several deep breaths, and said angrily in his heart, Wei Jiuxian, I gave you a chance. I gave you a lot of chances. Why do you want me to go against me, even a dare to teach me to govern the world? There was endless anger in his eyes. The roar in the depths of his heart was like the howling of a wild beast, and a black mist also emanated from his eyebrows. If I'm not strong, how can the Tang dynasty prosper? With a word of comfort in my heart, Emperor Guangfu's expression became much calmer. After all, this is the early morning, and he has to summarize today's affairs to make a decision. The things on the face should be good-looking and beautiful, and the private should be tight. I am so sad. Emperor Guangfu Li Miao clutched his chest. His eyes were complicated, and his tone was solemn. The events of 3 years ago seem to be vivid in my mind. Where did you all go back then? If the Qiyang sect hadn't helped me, how could the Tang dynasty be restored? These words are really heartbreaking. Especially civil and military officials, they are really useless. At the beginning, there were 2 great heroes. One was the immortal slaying guard, and the other was the Qiyang sect. It's no wonder people are being scolded now. Of course, I would also like to thank Wei Aiqing and all the immortals in Xianzhanwei. Without them, I would not be able to get out of Taiyan City. Emperor Guangfu changed the subject and continued. Zhang Xianwei's supervision of Shanhai County has failed. As a result, no information was passed on to the cabinet even after the collapse of Jiang State. We decided to remove Wei Jiuxian from the position of commander and replace it with the protector of Nanshan. Wei Aiqing will take over the defense of Nanqing for the time being. Wei Jiuxian, who was in the hall, was not surprised. This was the price he paid for breaking the sky today. He had already said that this majesty would not do business at a loss. As for the matter in the 9 counties in the southeast, the Ministry of Punishment and Dali Temple will investigate together. As for the candidates for the inspection, Chen Yuan will take the lead and take Zhang Xianwei to the 9 counties to find out everything. The big things are picked up high and put down gently. No one knows that this Chen Yuan is the brother-in-law of Emperor Tang, and that is his own. What can I find out in the 9 counties? The light in Wei Jiuxian's eyes completely faded. Even Yin Zhong of the cabinet couldn't help frowning. He was very dissatisfied with this, not because of such a big incident in Jiujuan, but because His Majesty was too partial to the Qiyang sect. A demon sect in the realm of self-cultivation. If it wasn't for Xiao Xiao, who couldn't enter the hall because of the power of the dragon, how could it not be chilling to be so shielded by His Majesty? Retreat. But with the retreat, what else can they say? Wei Jiuxian closed his eyes slightly, took a deep breath, and walked out of the hall alone, with a lonely back. How much hatred there was in the past. I can't hate it at this moment. This is the heart of the princes of the court. Chen Yuan gritted his teeth with hatred. He hated Wei Jiuxian. If it weren't for the fact that the other party broke such a big thing, his appointment today would be the governor of Shanhai County. Now they are going to visit Mongshan County, which is the 9 counties in the southeast. I hate it. The meeting will disperse. Emperor Guangfu returned to the Hall of Mental Cultivation, but he could not raise his state of mind. Damn Wei Jiuxian. Emperor Guangfu could no longer remain calm. His eyes were full of black mist. Since he became a cultivator in the infant transformation realm, no one in this Tang dynasty dared to disobey him. But last night Wei Jiuxian dared to detain the immortal fate he let Qi Yangzong collect. How can he not hate? That is the immortal fate collected by Qi Yangzong after a busy year. Once he is refined, he can quickly be promoted to the late stage of Huaying. Immortal fate, that's a good thing. The reason why he broke through from ordinary Jindan to Huaying was because of the immortal fate refined by Qiyang sect. He was promoted to Huaying in just a few months and swept the different kings. 3 years have passed, and outsiders can never imagine that he is now in the middle stage of infant transformation. At such a speed, the entire cultivation world cannot find a few. If it wasn't because Wei Jiuxian ruined his good deeds, he would have been able to impact Huaying great consummation now. The Emperor Guangfu Li Miao became angrier the more he thought about it. His teeth tickled with hatred, and he held the table with both hands, which also crackled. At this time, a cloud of mist drifted from the hall and turned into a figure in white. Isn't that holding back your anger? The visitor's tone was calm, and he didn't care that the 95 Lord was angry. And Li Miao's approach is also surprising, he replied respectfully. It's me who messed up and disappointed the immortal master. It's only 1 year's fate. If you let it go, you can let Qiyang's sect go to the 36 states in the north to collect the fate. I have blocked the secret in that place. As long as there are enough people, I can collect it for you in half a year, reaching the perfect fairy fate of Huaying. The white-clothed immortal master's tone was indifferent. Emperor Guangfu was a little hesitant, and said with a moving expression, "The 9 southeastern counties have been exposed, these 36 prefectures. How? Soft-hearted?" The immortal master looked like a light cloud, and he floated forward, patted Li Miao's shoulder and comforted. If you achieve a major event, you must be ruthless. What you have now is the greatest opportunity in the entire cultivation world. The entire cultivation world will remember your name, not this little Tang. Chapter 6304. Chapter 6304 Night Party Name. The emperors of all dynasties are all competing for fame. It is said that Emperor Wuzong, when he recaptured the 36 northern states, left his name in history, and has always been the pride of their lineage. Li Miao not only wanted to leave a name in the history, but also to make a name in the world of self-cultivation, so that hundreds of millions of people would admire him. Okay, just do as the immortal master said. Li Miao just hesitated for a moment before making a decision. Looking at the mist disappearing from the immortal master, he comforted himself in his heart. When I'm done, the entire cultivation world belongs to the Tang dynasty. At that time, they should thank me for opening up a prosperous world for their descendants. But he never thought that those people had left descendants? Palace Immortal Slaying Tower. Wei Jiuxian walked to the door alone, but was stopped. Hufa Wei, Lord Nanshan asked you to go directly to the South City Wall. There is no need to come back to the Immortal Slaying Tower. The two Immortal Slaying guards who guarded the door had already changed into unfamiliar faces. Wei Jiuxian was hunched and did not refute. He turned around and was about to leave. Before leaving, he stopped and didn't turn his head, just said plainly, "Tell Nanshan don't break my chessboard." After saying that, he left immediately. South City, Immortal Slaying Guard Branch. Commander, are you just looking at that villain from Nanshan like this? He even asked me to go to Shanghai County to monitor Jiangguo refugees. Once I leave, this is Taiyan City. But I'll be honest with what he said. Chang Feng's expression on his face. As the second head of Zhangxianlu, he only obeyed Wei Jiuxian's orders. But now he is replaced by Nanshan. He must not be convinced. Moreover, he was also assigned to Shanghai County, which was obviously to overshadow Wei Jiuxian. Wei Jiuxian poured a cup of plain tea and pushed it to Chang Feng, and said nonchalantly, "Then go to Shanghai County." But Chang Feng was halfway through. Seeing Wei Jiuxian's relaxed expression, he seemed to understand something. He pretended to lower his voice and said, "Grand Commander. My arrangement, don't ask, don't say it if you guess it. Just do what it says inside." Wei Jiuxian handed a kit to Chang Feng. After Chang Feng took it, he nodded heavily. He had always been confident in the Grand Commander's plan. And he immediately led the order to retire after drinking tea. After returning to his residence, he opened the kit. There was only a short line of words at the top. But after reading it, it made him feel more puzzled. Chen Yuan. He crushed the note and closed his eyes. A lot of things happened in the court today, so that even the city felt precarious. Night. Chopping Immortal Tower. The group of Qiyang sect powerhouses who were captured by Wei Jiuxian were all released, but the immortal fate they brought with them was gone. Needless to say, it has been taken away by Wei Jiuxian. Tonight Beiqing will leave an opening for you. You follow this route out of the city, and someone will lead you after you leave the city. Nanshan sat on the rattan chair and waved his hand. Get down! Inside the princess house. Tonight is full of guests, and the light is great. Because Chen Yuan was about to take up the post of governor, and went to the 9 southeastern counties. This is an imperial consignment, and it is a high promotion. Once he returns, he will be promoted at least 2 levels. The key is to go to Mongshan County. Naturally, many people will congratulate and send off. Tonight's Chen Yuan can be regarded as enjoying the brilliance of a crowd full of friends. Some are friends, some are colleagues and bosses. For example, some of the servants of the 6th Division are higher than his official position, which can be regarded as giving him enough face. The banquet continued until late at night, and Chen Yuan, who was slightly drunk, sent the guests to the door one by one. Of course, this kind of thing would definitely not bring the princess. After all, it is a noble stomach. Besides, the relationship between Chen Yuan and the princess is more like living together. No one pays attention to anyone else. It's enough to take care of yourself. After sending off the guests, Chen Yuan let out a long sigh. The smile on his face disappeared, and walked towards the study alone. He usually lives in the East Garden, while the princess is in the West Garden, and both have their own activity areas. In Shiyuan, there are many small courtyards with face and head, and some attic for entertainment, which is very prosperous. Dongyuan is much simpler, with only a small bamboo forest and some scattered courtyards. In the bamboo forest, there is also an attic. This is Chen Yuan's study. This place is his heart, and he also ordered his servants not to come here. He opened the door familiarly, but his brows furrowed, because there is one person sitting on the main seat of the study. The man was in the darkness, unable to see his face. But Chen Yuan can recognize this person at a glance, either because he is too familiar, or because this person has a very deep impression on him. What are you doing here? Chen Yuan's tone was impatient. Seeing this man, he felt flustered. The figure in the dark smiled disdainfully and said sarcastically, "When you become a concubine, will you forget my old brother?" "Humph, don't call me brothers. We two have already settled. And if there's nothing to do, get out of here." TSK really heartless. The shadowy figure shook his head and immediately said straight to the point, "I came here on orders and I need your help with something." Hearing that he was ordered to come, Chen Yuan's brows furrowed even tighter, turned around and closed the door, lowered his voice and said, "Is it because of Mongshan County?" "Kindness." The shadow in the dark nodded, and then said, "The selection for Mongshan County has been selected. There will be a team of forbidden troops, and a team of Zhan Xianwei will go with you. All you have to do is..." After the shadow in the dark explained, there was a grim smile. "Brother Chen Yuan, if you finish this matter, the road will be better in the future." As the voice fell, the shadow in the darkness also disappeared. Only Chen Yuan was left to guard the attic alone. After a while, Chen Yuan slowed down, but before he could sit down, another shadow entered the attic. Today's princess mansion is so lively. The person who came masked and sat where the shadow had just sat startled Chen Yuan. "Who are you, dare to break into the princess mansion?" Chen Yuan was immediately furious. The man in black is playing with his taste. "What can I do to the little princess mansion? If I can come in, I can kill you, understand?" This sentence was a naked threat. Chen Yuan paused, and his breath calmed down instantly. "I knew it wouldn't be peaceful this time." Chen Yuan felt helpless and smiled bitterly. "Tell me, you are the great god of the road again. What instructions do you have?" Readily, the man in black clapped his hands and said frankly, "First, save Yang Xiao's life. Second, after going to Mongshan County, don't bother about Yang Xiao's actions." "Wei Jiuxian asked you to come?" Chen Yuan directly guessed the origin of the other party, and then sneered. "Your news is really good. I just found out that Yang Xiao will go with the team, and you will come after you." After guessing his identity and origin, Chen Yuan is no longer afraid. He is now the governor of the imperial court, so he doesn't believe that Wei Jiuxian has the courage to kill him. Chapter 6305. It's a pity that he guessed right in front and bet behind wrong. Wei Jiuxian really dared to kill him, and he wouldn't have any worries. Going to Mongshan for inspection was not good for Emperor Tang. If he died before the inspection, then the purpose was changed, and the death of the concubine began to be investigated. This matter, just like the original concubine Yin, has become an unsolved mystery. But because of the death of the concubine, the world's attention has changed from why the king rebelled to the death of the concubine. It's a very simple matter. How could Wei Jiuxian not know? If he really sent someone to kill Chen Yuan, then he would have won the whole set. I am afraid that Emperor Tang would directly restore him to his post and let him investigate the death of his concubine. In other words, killing the concubine is equivalent to turning around and changing his mind. If this is the case, why should Wei Jiuxian pierce the sky? So it is possible to kill but not to kill. This is conspiracy. I can't help but not answer this question. I just ask you, help or not? The man in black said calmly, not angry. However, Chen Yuan had no fear and sneered. "Is this matter a public matter or a private matter?" "Hee, I broke into the princess mansion in the middle of the night. Do you think I am private or public?" "That means it's a private matter." Chen Yuan shrugged. The man in black nodded and said, "Yes." "Humph." Chen Yuan snorted coldly and said arrogantly, "Go back and tell Wei Jiuxian that I, Chen Yuan, can talk to him selflessly. If it's official business, you can go to the cabinet to find the senior manager of Yenge. If the cabinet has an arrangement, I will of course I won't refuse." At this moment, Chen Yuan is like the master of the sky, but the man in black looked at him like a fool. "You're really not afraid of death." The man in black shook his head, suddenly took out a dagger, and stabbed it out instantly. But the dagger stopped just a millimeter away from Chen Yuan's neck, and Chen Yuan, who had realized it later, was also frightened into a cold sweat. He immediately shouted, "Senior, save me." Well, the man in black was a little surprised. He was just trying to frighten the concubine. Why did the other party call someone? And dare to call someone in front of him? The other party must be very skilled and have the strength to stop him at such a close distance. Really? The next moment, the dagger in the hand of the man in black instantly let go and shot straight out of the window, cutting off the roots and bamboos before stopping. A figure in green robes also slowly fell from the window. Standing in front of the window sill, the figure said, "He has no killing intent. He just wants to scare you. But his heart should be punished. But he wants me to help you kill him." "Get rid of me?" The figure in black sneered. "Don't you think your tone is a bit big? You can try." The figure in the green robe gave a sullen smile, not paying any attention to the other party. A small golden elixir is complete. Even if the master Fengjue, who can be invincible in the golden core stage, comes, he can easily kill him. This green-robed figure was exactly Jian Wushuang, who was hiding in the princess mansion. Since absorbing the space crystal, he has reached the golden core consummation. In fact, the realm to break through is already there, and there is only a treasure to break through. As long as there is another space crystal of that kind, it will definitely break through. It's a pity that he didn't know where to get this thing. And after he broke through, his mind power increased greatly, and he felt several auras that could threaten him in Tian City. Waiting for the opportunity, just last night, he felt a big battle, but unfortunately he couldn't fish in troubled waters, because there was a powerhouse in the infant transformation stage. If he knew that if he took a risk last night, he might be able to get the chance to break through the baby transformation. And I'm afraid he would take a risk. But with Jian Wushuang's vision, what happened yesterday must have caused a storm in Tian City, and with the guests at the grand banquet tonight, he got a general idea. At night, he covered the bamboo forest with his thoughts, and when he found out that someone was coming, he eavesdropped on the outside. As a result, I heard Chen Yuan's life-saving call, knowing that there was no way to hide it, so he simply showed up. And he can also guess that the other party is from Zhan Xianwei, who should have discovered that there are masters hidden in the princess mansion. Otherwise, the two Xian Zhanwei have been missing before, and they will definitely be investigated. But now Zhan Xianwei can't protect itself and has no time. Take care of the little things. You killed Jiang Jiu and Jiang Qi? The man in black looked at Jian Wushuang and broke the confrontation. Jian Wushuang had no need to hide, and admitted it frankly. My lord's guess is indeed correct. The princess mansion really hides a master, but I don't know his details. Could it be that he is also a member of the demon sect? The man in black guessed secretly, but did not dare to do it easily, because he was able to kill 2 golden snake guards under their noses. His strength should not be underestimated. The dagger he had just controlled had revealed a terrifying power. It was not like the Jindan stage, but it didn't have that of the infant transformation stage. The sense of rage, either the opponent has reached the point of superb control of strength, or the opponent is not Huaying. Obviously he believes the former more. Your Excellency is so powerful. I think you are not a nameless person. Why are you hiding in this little princess mansion? The man in black made a tentative sound. A Khonshu. Calm, Jian Wushuang said slightly threateningly. Some things are known, and it will not be good for you. The man in black didn't dare to try again, so he directly said, Since this is the case, then I won't ask. But there is one thing, I can't retreat, because this matter is related to the billions of Tang dynasty. Shengmin, it may seem to you that hundreds of millions of Shengmin have nothing to do with their own cultivation, but there are innocent people everywhere. Please don't interfere in this matter. Intervene? Jian Wushuang didn't want to intervene at all. He just wanted to get more treasures and improve his strength. As for the people of Dawn the world, he has long been indifferent. Because mortals only have 100 years of life, which is too short in his opinion. Even if hundreds of millions of people are gone, in 100 years, hundreds of millions of people will be born. This is why the human race is spread all over the starry sky. Unlike those powerful races or special beings, it is difficult to reproduce, or there is no way to reproduce. and can only be nurtured by the universe and even time and space. It has nothing to do with me. Jian Wushuang shook his head, his expression still indifferent. Seeing this, the man in black frowned slightly, just as he thought. People with extraordinary strength no longer put the ordinary in their eyes. Just as he was about to get out, Jian Wushuang changed the subject and said, "But the request you made to Qin Yuan earlier, I can help you, just without going through Qin Yuan's hands." Because he couldn't let Qin Yuan take the risk to help Zhang Xianwei, but prepared to help Yang Xiao himself. Yang Xiao, he had been to Jiang country, and perhaps he knew about Jiang Shang's mother. By the way, it was easy for him to help the other party and ask about Jiangguo's affairs. This is exchange. It's just that there is no need to tell the man in black and Qin Yuan. Chapter 6306. Chapter 6306. Guest Senior, is this true? Black is a little confused. Just now, he seemed like he had nothing to talk about. So why did he suddenly agree? Jian Wushuang said in an unfathomable tone. It's true, and it will ensure that he returns to Beijing safely. Then, the man in black just wanted to ask why, but thought of what Jian Wushuang had said before. He swallowed it again. Although there is no way to tell the truth, Jian Wushuang can still find it at will without a logical excuse. Go back and tell Wei Jiuxian to help me kill a few people when I send someone to Shanhai County. South Tower. Wei Jiuxian sat beside the chessboard, holding a chess piece, but he didn't put it down for a long time. You said he wants me to help kill a few honorables? Yes, Chang Feng respectfully said. According to number 1, these people are also related to this Qin Yuan. This time Qin Yuan went to Shanhai County because of these people. I didn't expect that because of these honors I would lose so much. Wei Jiuxian stood up holding the chess piece and said in a stern tone, "It's time to clean up some trash." Playing with the pieces in his hand, Wei Jiuxian looked out of the city, replaying what had happened these days in his mind. Restaurant magic sect, suspected baby change. These things happened a few days ago. Thinking about it, 2 words appeared in his mind. Ginger country. It is also related to Shanhai County, so it must have come from Jiang country. Chang Feng, do you still remember when His Majesty was enthroned, he sent someone to Jiang country? My subordinate remembers that it seemed that there was quite a lot of trouble at the time. It seemed that I was looking for a female cultivator. Later, I couldn't find it, so I put it on hold. Chang Feng answered truthfully. Wei Jiuxian nodded. Among the people who were sent to Jiang country at that time, it seemed that Yang Xiao was the one who took the lead. That's right. Chang Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. In this way, everything seems to be clear. A female cultivator who was in the mind of Emperor Guangfu went to Jiang country, and then sent Zhang Xianwei to look for it. Later, this female cultivator disappeared. At first, Emperor Guangfu had been worried about it, but then suddenly let it go. Princess Yi. It was her appearance that made His Majesty let go of the female nun. The fight in the restaurant was caused by a mysterious powerhouse and the Qiyang sect demon cultivator. If it is something that can see the light, Emperor Guangfu doesn't need to let Qiangzong do it. Just let Zhang Xianwei go. But Emperor Guangfu did not do that, but let a team of monks from Qiyang sect deal with the mysterious monk. There must be some kind of elusive secret in it. I am afraid that only Emperor Guangfu knows about this matter. Because the party involved Jian Wushuang is also not clear. Wei Jiuxian's eyes deepened when he thought of this. Over the years, he felt that there was a shadow looming over the Tang dynasty. But it didn't go away. Dies in the first floor. Didn't we find out about the mysterious cultivator who went to inquire about it? Bring the file, I want to read it again. Wei Jiuxian decided to investigate thoroughly and start over. Maybe you can find clues and find out the conspiracy of Emperor Guangfu. Princess House. Inside the bamboo forest loft. Thank you for your help just now, Senior. Chen Yuan bowed slightly, but his eyes were red when he raised his head, and he said in a hoarse voice, Senior, I'm useless. I've been planning for so many days, but I can't take revenge myself. And in the end, Senior will take action. Chen Yuan believed in Jian Wushuang's excuse. From his point of view, Jian Wushuang is simply a world expert who keeps his word. In order to avenge a common man, he cooperated with Zhang Xianlu. And he cooperated at a great risk. This is what I want to do. You don't need to care too much. Jian Wushuang patted the other party's shoulder, and then said, I will be hiding in the Immortal Slayer Guard when I leave tomorrow. But I will arrange for 2 friends to protect you on the bright side. As for Yang Xiao's affairs, you must keep it a secret. Chen Yuan immediately knelt down on one knee and said in a serious tone, Senior, please rest assured. This matter will rot in my stomach. Even if I cut Chen's belly, it won't reveal the slightest bit. Live well. After Jian Wushuang finished speaking, the figure disappeared. The next morning, outside the princess mansion, a group of horses have already taken their places. With the princess farewell, Chen Yuan boarded the carriage and waved goodbye to the princess. On the face of things, both of them will give face, and they will not be cold. Chen Yuan closed the door curtain, but his expression turned cold. This time he went to Mongshan County with a mission. Except for Yang Xiao's affairs, the rest had to be done. That's dragging. When I went to Mongshan County, the truth was not important. What was important was how to get this thing right. His vision may not be able to see yesterday's battle, but someone pointed it out, and it is clear that the more clearly this matter is investigated, the more unfavorable it will be to His Majesty. And Yang Xiao was investigating this matter, but he would not take action against Yang Xiao. The reason for shirk has also been thought out. What can he do as a mortal? Yang Xiao is a complete powerhouse of Jindan. And this time in the accompanying team, although there are many masters, there is no way to take down Yang Xiao unknowingly. On the bright side, each of the 100 Imperial Guards are elite cavalry soldiers who have experienced hundreds of battles. Personal strength may not be a big deal, but you use reading www. is powerful. Leading 100 elites can besiege Jindan. In addition, there is a team of immortal slaying guards. The 2 Golden Crow Guards are both late Jindan cultivators. Yang Xiao was not included. Besides the Golden Crow Guards, there are also 10 Golden Snake Guards. With the strength on the bright side, it is easy to sweep some small sections. Secretly, there is also a 7 money slashing immortal guard. This was arranged to come in to kill Yang Xiao. Chen Yuan was unable to command because he was not on the travel list. In addition to the hidden masters of Zhang Xianlu, there is also a cultivator of Qi Yangzong, whose strength is not inferior to Yang Xiao. It can be said that he was fully prepared, and Yang Xiao was bound to die on the way to Mongshan County. In addition to these ins and outs, there was also a man and a woman, who were accompanied by the name of the guests of the prince's residence. It was Xiang Yang and Jiang Shang. Originally, I didn't want to take them on this long trip, but thinking that the current Taiyan city is not very peaceful, it is better to take them. As for Jian Wushuang himself, no one knows his whereabouts except himself. Originally, he planned to hide in the team, but Jian Wushuang found that it was not necessary at all. The mind power spreads out, and it can cover the surrounding 50 kilometers. As far as the speed of the team is concerned, it takes an hour for 50 miles, while Jian Wushuang only needs 1 stick of incense. So stop and go along the way and check your surroundings. He can see everyone within 50 miles, whether it is openly or secretly, but no one else can find his existence. Such a powerful mind power has surpassed the cultivator of the infant transformation stage. This is the confidence of Jian Wushuang. With the power of mind, always pay attention to the situation in the team. He didn't pay attention to those people on the bright side, but the 2 powerhouses in the dark are a bit tricky. Chapter 6307. Chapter 6307. The Shopkeeper. The second, the cook one is Qiqian Zhangxianhui, and the other is a demonic flame, who should be the supreme elder in Qiyang sect, and his strength has reached Huaying. However, it is not a real or fake baby, but a dead baby monk. Cultivating this kind of nascent infant will naturally engulf the sky, because this kind of dead infant cultivator needs countless real nourishment from living infants. A live baby is, of course, a living baby. Although Jian Wushuang is well informed, he was surprised to see this demon cultivator in this mortal world. The particularity of the practice method and the wanton behavior in this world of self-cultivation are rare. In the mortal world of self-cultivation in the outside world, such a demon would probably be hunted down by the righteous path, the kind that would never die. The righteous and the devil do not stand apart and fight each other for the sake of the same word. For the sake of the righteous path, some will fall into the devil's path. But the world has no such balance. It may be because of the Tang Emperor, or because the sect of the cultivation world is too cold. It is said that the entire Eastern land cultivation world, the sect has withered, and has lost its former prosperity, and even the complete inheritance has not continued for a long time. Most of the sect cultivators are only Jindan cultivators in the end. Individuals who can become cultivators in the infant transformation stage also have ancient adventures and their own talents. It is a pity that the spiritual energy of this world is dim, the heaven is blocked, and it is impossible to soar, so that there have been no strong people in the realm of gods for many years. From the perspective of Jian Wushuang, this mortal world will completely become a paradise in a few years, and there will be no cultivators from now on. As far as the current situation is concerned, there is still hope to be promoted to the gods in the last 100 years, and in the future, there is not much hope. The realm of the gods is a watershed, and the realm of the law is the realm of displaying supernatural powers. Even if Jian Wushuang's psychic power is strong, he will be caught by the gods and will be captured. Therefore, it is a good thing for him that there is no divine phase. Call. Standing on the branch of the bush, Jian Wushuang let out a sigh of relief, and in a flash, he continued on his way, walking all the way to the front of the team. The speed of the convoy was not as fast as that of the cultivators. After walking for a long time, they had just walked out of Tian City. When it was dusk, it finally reached the border of Mongshan County, and there was still a long way to go before Mongshan City. The captain of the Imperial Army took a look at the sky, slowed down, approached the carriage and said loudly, "Master Chen, I think I will find an inn to rest for the night, and tomorrow morning we will go straight to Mongshan City." "Okay, look at the rest of your arrangements." Chen Yuan accepted the suggestion. He came here this time to follow orders to do things. Things can be done or not, but he must listen to his advice. Even if he did nothing and returned to the capital, there would be no punishment. He is also cautious, for fear of encountering an accident. If this Dong Biao belongs to His Majesty and wants to get rid of Yang Xiao, then he has to listen to the other party. Otherwise he will definitely be punished when he returns to the capital. But he wasn't worried about Yang Xiao's safety at all, because there is a sword in the dark. At this moment, Jian Wushuang stood on a treetop 30 miles away, hiding in the darkness after dusk. After letting go of the power of thought, Dong Biao's words were heard word by word. "This Dong Biao, there is a problem." He frowned. There was an inn 10 miles away from him, but this inn was very new, like it was prepared for them to rest. There were only 3 people inside. A shopkeeper, a junior, a cook. 3. There is no breath. This is what surprised Jian Wushuang. You must know that his current power of thought is several times stronger than that of Huaying consummation, and it can be compared to the realm of gods. Unable to detect the breath of the 3, it's impossible for all 3 to be in the realm of gods. Jian Wushuang shook his head and dismissed this ridiculous idea. There is no breath, and even the eyes are empty, and there is no soul. Then there is only one possibility. Puppet. I didn't expect that there is a puppet technique in this world. This can be regarded as the top magical power in the ordinary self-cultivation world. It is estimated that it comes from the ancient inheritance of the northern glaciers. He didn't think Jindan or Huaying in this world could make puppets. After all, it is the lowest level of cultivation world. The French and financial partners are not enough to support monks refining puppets. There is a big gap in the Tao of the cultivation world. For example, the Qinghua realm, at the beginning, was a top-level cultivation realm. In the later divine power universe, that is no longer the realm of self-cultivation, but includes the distinction between the upper and lower realms of the entire material. Simply put, the structure of the world view has 5 layers. This is the 5 layers, and there may be many levels under the subdivision, But Jian Wushuang is not so serious. Divided from the world from which he came out, from the earliest continent, it can be regarded as the second layer of the world, including the later Qinghua world. The first layer is a complete mortal world. It belongs to the paradise. There is no distinction between the weak and the strong. The way of heaven is fair. The second layer of the world seems to have opened a hole in the way of heaven, allowing some people with extraordinary talents to walk against the sky, step into the ranks of cultivation, and master the law of birth and death of heaven and earth. The third layer world is the universe of 10,000 worlds at the level of the divine power universe and the virtual power universe. It includes all material worlds and merges into the universe. This universe is a product of heaven. The peak is also the ancestor god. Going against the sky can't go anywhere. Only by going to Dayanhuan and entering the primordial universe, nurtured by time and space, can we go further. This is the power of the fourth layer of the world. In the universe that was originally conceived, the Tao can also be controlled, and the universe and even time and space can be controlled. In fact, including the world god continent, the same is true. It's just that the world god continent is considered the top of the fourth layer world. He is between the stars and space-time, can become the pinnacle of the universe god. As for the space-time god, Jian Wushuang is not very clear. Since he entered this world, he felt that the difference between the so-called universe gods and space-time gods is not a realm, but a kind of power. The original extinction, how could it still be the star god? He didn't think that the strength of this annihilation was so powerful. If he returned to the peak, it would not be a problem to hit 10 peak annihilations. The god of the universe, the god of space and time, and the god of the starry sky are all positions. Like the universe gods, there is no division of realm, and some are based on the level of power. Strong power is the 9-star cosmic god. Weak power is the 1-star cosmic god. The mighty god of the universe might be able to kill the god of time and space, and even the god of starry sky. Mainly depends on the power. The divine power of the universe is definitely different from the divine power of time and space. Perhaps only after the divine calamity is over. We will be able to find out when we go to the starry sky. After all, he was still far away, and it was just a thought that flashed in his mind. Then he pulled away and walked towards the weird inn. The distance of 10 miles. But after a few long jumps, they reached the front of the inn. Little heir, stay at the hotel. Chapter 6308. Jian Wushuang is wearing a cloak. Don't see his face clearly, but judging from his outfit, he looks like a martial arts master. A swordsman who travels far with a sword on his back. Dian Shower's eyes looked dull, but his hands and feet were quick and his tone was very marketable. And he hurriedly welcomed Jian Wushuang in with enthusiasm. Is it objective to live in the upper room or the middle room? Xiao Er hunched his waist and bowed his head and smiled. Jian Wushuang took out the money bag from his waist, slapped it on the table, and said loudly, "Go to the room, give me 2 jars of good wine, a pound of cooked beef, and a plate of peanuts." "Okay, wait a moment, I'll make arrangements now," said to arrange it, but went to the back kitchen and shouted, then took out a key from the shopkeeper, and handed it to Jian Wushuang respectfully. Taking the key, Jian Wushuang took out a small piece of silver from the purse, and threw it to Xiao Er. He said proudly, "You will be rewarded." After saying that, he went straight upstairs. After the teacup kung fu, Xiao Er knocked on the door and came in, put the drinks on the table, and stepped back respectfully. Jian Wushuang sat cross-legged on the bed, didn't touch the drink, spread his thoughts, wrapped around 50 miles around, and kept staring at the convoy. You have to do everything. You can't feel like you know everything just because there is a weird in here. You still have to keep staring at the team and Yang Xiao. Make sure that the other party has no life worries. Then find an opportunity to ask the other party about Jiang Gua, especially about Jiang Shang. Jiang Shang. Jian Wushuang's thought instantly evoked the memories of that year. The things of that year are smashed. Because of his helpless actions, Hui Qing's mind was unstable several times. This is all cause and effect. If it wasn't for the White King to coerce Jian Wushuang sighed. Speaking of which, it is Zhenling who is to blame for this matter. If he doesn't bring the demonic sound mountain to the heaven, he will not go to the heaven to accept the inheritance of physical trials. Without this inheritance, he would not have entered the heavenly realm in advance, so that he would not be caught by Zhenzwang. As a result, he was coerced by the gods and the White King, and he had no choice but to go to the blood sacrifice. Inadvertently killed Jiangshang's brother in ordinary times. Made such a mess. I thought this matter had already passed, but I didn't expect to enter this big world and find Jiangshang's clues again. Is it possible that she is a reincarnation? Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows, but the thought was not right. The Lord of the Universe, who fell in the long river of time and space, will not come to the world god continent even if he dies. Not to enter this world. There must be a reason for that. He could only go and explore slowly. But no matter what this time, he will not make mistakes again. Don't make the same mistake twice. Whether you are the original Jiangshang or not, I will deliver you to Huiqing safely. Outside the inn, the originally peaceful street suddenly became lively. From the north, a group of aliens dressed in savage costumes were driving the beast's car, and they bumped into Chen Yuan's motorcade from the south. The two sides quarreled outside in order to compete for the stables. As a captain of the Forbidden Army, Dong Biao had been on the battlefield and had fought against the savagery of alien races. Now he can be said to be particularly jealous, although the relationship with alien races has eased in recent years, and the two sides have traded with each other, but also will not give a good face. Damn aliens! Dong Biao scolded secretly in his heart, but this time they had important things in mind, and there were strong people among those aliens. With the intention of not causing trouble, he scolded with a cold face. You barbarians, I don't like living in the wild the most. Why do you still live in an inn? These words sound harsh, but they are the best words. Otherwise, just tell them to get out. The aliens did not give in at all. One of the enchanting women with bronze skin and various costumes immediately stared and said angrily, You people from the Central Plains are not known as a country of etiquette, according to the teachings of your saints. It is not a matter of course. Are you letting guests? As soon as these words came out, Dong Biao was really stunned. He didn't expect that the other party knew Datong quite well. Now it seems that you didn't listen to a word of the saint's words, and you only use the words that are beneficial to you to fight for your own interests. It's really hypocritical. The enchanting woman glanced at Dong Biao with disdain. For a while, Dong Biao couldn't come down from the stage. How could he have suffered this kind of anger? If he was on the battlefield, he would have drawn his sword and killed him long ago, and he would be scolding his mother, looking for death. Dong Biao was furious and drew his knife directly. Hundreds of imperial guards also suddenly said, tightening the reins, ready to rush to kill at any time. Chen Yuan, who had been watching from the carriage, stopped Dong Biao at this time. Wait a moment. Chen Yuan opened the curtains and walked out, looking at the enchanting woman from the Tsang clan. This matter can be big or small. You can't kill this alien caravan directly because of a conflict of words, which means you have nothing to do. He is the chief officer this time, and he has to carry it when something goes wrong, but he has to solve it when he encounters it. Otherwise, the face of the people below will be lost, and he will also lose face. Although I haven't been in the officialdom for a few years, I have learned a lot of various skills. Akanshu. He first waved his hand to let Dong Biao take away the sword, then jumped out of the carriage and walked towards the Tsangzu caravan, and Zhang Xianwei immediately followed. The elite Golden Crow guards among the 10 immortal slaying guards. This kind of aura can directly overwhelm the caravan. Even the enchanting woman with the sharp language couldn't help but take a half step back. It was an old man behind her who lightly held her shoulders to restore calm. It's the Golden Crow guard who slashed the immortal guard. It's better not to do it. The enchanting woman of the alien race changed her expression. Knowing that the voice just now was a sound transmission, she just nodded lightly in response. When Xiang Yang got the effect, he raised his hand and said, "Don't be rude." Only then did the Golden Crow guard accept the pressure, and the aliens seemed to have removed the stone from their chests. and instantly regained their breath, gasping for breath. Everyone in these strong suits is a great immortal. What is the origin of this person? Some animal trainers in the caravan resisted the shock in their hearts, and also felt that the Tang dynasty was strong and 10 great immortals protected a mortal. The other party must be the top figure in Datong. Otherwise, there would not be so many great immortals to protect. In the wild, the Tsang people called the Jindan stage monks Daxian. Just like the Shangxian of the eastern land, it is just a title. Chen Yuan glanced at the people who were shocked, and his expression softened, and Yin Yu said, "This girl, the way of hospitality you said earlier is indeed the tradition of my Tang dynasty. It is a pleasure to have friends from afar. Of course I have to let the best." After these words, many people in the alien caravan have a good impression of Chen Yuan. After all, one is a scholar who looks harmless to humans and animals, and next to him is a group of terrifying immortals. They naturally have a good impression, not to mention that a big man with such a high status in their opinion actually spoke to them so politely. Chapter 6309. So, are you going to give us the stables? The enchanting woman's voice was poignant, and her eyes looked at Chen Yuan with a charming look, waiting for an answer. Chen Yuan smiled sullenly, but changed the subject and said solemnly, "Rang, of course I will, but before I have to let you know that the essence of my Tang etiquette, not that you can be unscrupulous by relying on your identities as guests." As soon as this sentence came out, the aura was fully opened, and the weak scholar was like the incarnation of a saint. The gift of etiquette is the master's permission, not the one proposed by the guests. I hope you remember it well. What this official gives you is yours. You can't ask for it, and you can't rob it. After Chen Yuan finished speaking, he didn't care about the other's shocked expression. He waved his hand and said loudly, "Xiaowei Dong, take the imperial army to the nearby woods to repair. Give the stables to them, and the rest will go to the inn with me to rest." After giving the order, he just smiled, slightly bowed his hands at the alien caravan, then turned his head and led people into the inn. Dong Biao's eyes were fiery, and what he said just now was too relieved. He felt relieved than beating the other party, and he also admired Chen Yuan in his heart. Those immortal slaying guards are well informed and feel that this is nothing. They have not spoken or expressed anything, but have always followed Chen Yuan. Xiang Yang and Jiang Shang followed behind Chen Yuan, but they each had their own thoughts. But they didn't take this matter to heart. Jian Wushuang, who was upstairs, raised the corner of his mouth slightly. "It's just a trivial trick. Immediately shrink the power of thought, and stop until it shrinks to a range of 3 miles. The invisible force looked around the entire inn, monitoring everyone. Along with those aliens, the two parties entered the inn before and after, and because there were many people, they all sat down in the lobby on the first floor. With the lessons learned, these aliens dare not provoke, and they all drink and eat meat honestly. Chen Yuan didn't have any appetite, because he had been in the car for a day. He just drank a bowl of water, and then greeted Xiao Er to go upstairs to rest. Zhan Xianwei is responsible for protection, and will not eat and drink downstairs, so they got up and lived next to Chen Yuan. With the mind power of the Jindan cultivator, they can also cover the entire inn and protect Chen Yuan's safety. It was completely dark. The restaurant was brightly lit. In the lobby on the first floor, in addition to a dozen people from the alien caravan, there was also Dong Biao and his party from the Imperial Army. The number of people in the Imperial Army was relatively large, so they chose to enter the inn in batches for dinner. As for rest, it can only be used as a quilt every day as a bed. Both sides are heroic people, eating and eating and eating at a table. In particular, the few men in the caravan, talking to Dong Biao, became more and more energetic, and the charming woman was beside him to persuade him to drink. Dong Biao, who had originally ordered the prohibition of alcohol, took a sip of it with kindness. But with wine, there is a first sip and a second sip. In addition to the first person, there is a second person, otherwise it will be treated differently. After a while, the crowd became one, and the wine was drank from jar after jar. The innkeeper didn't lift his eyelids. He didn't feel happy, because his business was good. Instead, he looked at Dong Biao with murderous intent. Add something to their wine and let these idiots go away. The shop assistant with a hippie smile was not surprised at all, and even responded loudly, "Okay, another 10 jars of good wine." As he spoke, he walked towards the wine cabinet, held the wine jar, and sent it back. And MBSBP, but this time the wine was different. In the effort of a cup of tea, those foreign men of 5 big and 3 thick, or Dong Biao, the captain of the Imperial Army Academy, all drank, their faces flushed, and they were a little unsteady when they stood. "I'll be here today, another day in Tian City. I will definitely invite you to drink the best wine," Dong Biao said with a sigh of relief, and staggered towards the outside. He didn't notice it at all, and the rest of the people lay on the table and couldn't stand up. Fortunately, his strength is not bad, so he can go out so safely. When he walked away, the smile on the face of the second shopkeeper began to disappear. After closing the door, his tone changed. He glanced at the aliens, then looked at the shopkeeper and said stiffly, "Get ready." The shopkeeper nodded and clapped his hands, and the cook in the kitchen came out dragging his fat body. The 3 of them didn't have any breath, and even in the infant transformation stage, they couldn't detect their movements. But he couldn't escape the mind power of the naked eye and Jian Wushuang. Just as the 3 were about to start, several alien powerhouses in the caravan stood up without warning. The turbid eyes that were originally drunk disappeared, replaced by a violent force. Together with the enchanting woman, each of the 5 is a monk of the Golden Core stage. The 3 were in the late stage of Jindan. The enchanting woman was in the middle stage of Jindan, but on his arm a red centipede slowly crawled out, and the size was constantly getting bigger, but it became a bucket thick in an instant, with 3 or 5 in length. "Husband, heavenly centipede," Dian Shower said in surprise. "You are not from the Zhongzhou caravan. You are the wizards of the 1,000-foot tribe." The 1,000-foot tribe is a barbaric tribe near the northern glacier. The entire tribe has only a few thousand people, but it is very powerful. Many children are born with innate spirits. Adults with poor talent can also become congenital warriors. In a tribe of several thousand people, dozens of Jindan monks can be born. This is not the most terrifying place. The 1,000-foot tribe also has a strong wizarding heritage that can manipulate centipedes. The reason why the 1,000-foot tribe is called the 1,000-foot tribe is because the totem is a centipede. The enchanting woman moved her body and looked at the second shopkeeper with strange eyes, and said, "You puppets even know about the centipede, so let it send you on your way." Hee, even if it's a centipede, it's a traditional body after all. The second shopkeeper tore off his shirt, revealing a body that was as black as ink. It was made of a peculiar spar. The shopkeeper and the cook have silver bodies, obviously different materials. The 3 have no breath, and naturally they cannot feel the real combat power. But as the 2 sides fought, the hall was instantly shattered. I was stunned that the fight was so intense, but there was no movement upstairs. Even if he is blind, he is not deaf. Everyone knows that the fight is going on, and the identities of both parties are unclear. But why they came, I am afraid it is Yang Xiao in the team. Chen Yuan stood in front of the door, looking down through the gap, his brows furrowed. Damn, I already knew that I was sleeping outside. Chen Yuan was a little annoyed. If it is in the wild, it is easier for Jian Wushuang to hide. Even if Zhang Xianwei makes a move, Jian Wushuang can easily escape. Hope it goes well. Chapter 63:10. Chapter 63:10 Ecstasy Next Door. 10 immortal slaying guards gathered together, and they were also observing the battle. Yang Xiao was in a room by himself, and he was also watching the battle. The great commander is really a god, and he even expected that we would live in a restaurant and encounter a mysterious powerhouse attack. He was shocked in admiration. Before he left Tian City, the chief commander had explained that when he encountered an alien in the inn, he could choose to believe it. But don't make a rash move, because the commander still has a backhand, that is Jian Wushuang. Anyway, No need to be white. There is no need to let Yang Xiao take risks. It's just that Yang Xiao was a little itchy at this time. Since the 1v9 in Mongshan County, his strength has improved again. He has a complete inheritance in Zhan Xianwei. And he also has treasures. It will allow him to find a way to break through the baby. I don't know if Senior Wushuang is here. Are we just watching this situation now? Jiang Shang was a little worried. Because of the battle below, there was a lot of movement. Especially the centipede. Its breath is stronger than Jindan perfection. And under the control of the enchanting woman, its combat power is almost comparable to Huaying. But when I met those 3 puppets, I couldn't even do any damage. Defense is amazing. It can be said that Jindan is invincible. Xiang Yang put his hands around his chest and looked at the battle, but his expression was indifferent and said, "Don't worry, these people should be here for Yang Xiao. Since Brother Wushuang arranged for the 2 of us to protect Chun Yuan, then don't worry about it. Just go." Kindness. Jiang Shang nodded slightly. The reason why she was a little anxious was because Jian Wushuang told her that Yang Xiao probably knew about her mother, so she was worried that Yang Xiao would be killed. But he also believed more in Jian Wushuang's ability. Now that the layout has been made, she must have made a foolproof strategy. She still has a deep understanding of this. In just half a year in Jiangguo, Jian Wushuang and Xiang Yang, they brought out more than 100,000 rebels, which shows the strong layout ability. If Jian Wushuang knew that Jiang Shang had such confidence in him, he might be ashamed. At this moment, Jian Wushuang stood in front of the door, also watching the battle. He was so excited that his body was shaking. Space crystallization. The material of the shop assistant's body is space crystals. He didn't notice it when he was so close before. And it was also because of the characteristics of space crystals. Now that he sees it with the naked eye, he recognizes it. Such a large space crystal, if I get it, it is enough to be promoted to a baby. Jian Wushuang was shocked and excited. He even forgot to speculate on the masters of the 1,000-foot tribe, because that doesn't matter to him. The inn was prepared for Yang Xiao, so these 3 puppets were also here to kill Yang Xiao. The powerhouse of the 1,000-foot tribe intervened, obviously to protect Yang Xiao. I am afraid that there is Wei Jiuxian's layout, and he is not very interested in it. Now he just wants to get space crystals. The 3 puppets have no thoughts, and are being manipulated. If you want to burn the power to kill, you can only use the power left on the puppet by the puppet master to kill the opponent. But this kind of killing from such a distance is too difficult. Although Jian Wushuang's thought power is powerful, it cannot do it. Unless you find the mastermind behind the puppets who are hiding in the team. Can't find it. At first, he thought it was Dong Biao. But from Dong Biao, he couldn't see anything strange. Even his mind power was a mess. It didn't look like a puppet being manipulated by Xinyu. If it wasn't Dong Biao, who was guessed earlier, who would it be? Could it be that the other party did not hide in the team, but just like him, has been secretly following the team? He frowned slightly, unless the other party was in the phase, or the other party's thought power was covered by something. The possibility of the phase was first ruled out. According to his guess, the other party could use the space crystal to refine the body of the puppet. I am afraid that there are still many space crystals to refine the magic weapon that shields his own breath. The high probability is like this. The strength is not a threat to Jian Wushuang, so he does not panic. Anyway, the puppet can't escape. Just when his eyelids were low, the most important thing now is to find out who is manipulating the puppet behind the scenes. Who is it? Jian Wushuang had murderous intent in his eyes. Mind power swept over everyone. If he couldn't find it, he didn't mind killing them all. Especially those Golden Crow guards, who were fighting against him anyway. To protect Yang Xiao, sooner or later there will be a conflict with the other party. Better to strike first. Jian Wushuang held the scabbard, his eyes lifted into the sky, and his consciousness condensed an illusory figure in the sky, looking at the restaurant below. Wait, just a second. But Jian Wushuang's patience also has a limit. He had to do something more at this time. Yang Xiao, you don't want to be caught without your hands. Yang Xiao in the guest room was stunned for a moment, knowing that it was sound transmission, and his thoughts immediately arose, and sound transmission said, "Your Excellency is not ready to take action? It seems that Wei Jiuxian has already told you. Then I'm not talking nonsense. Now I suspect that there is still a strong man behind the scenes manipulating the puppets to fight. His strength should not be weak, and he can control 3 puppets. A Khonshu. Calm can still be so flexible. At least it is a fake infant monk. I need to keep an eye on this person. Now you go down to help, and someone will help you later. You just need to cooperate with the strong of the 1,000-foot tribe to take down that scoundrel first. Just a black puppet. Then I can lock the position of the person behind the scenes." Jian Wushuang used a well-meaning little lie to force Yang Xiao to take action. Because there are still 2 strong men who are no less than him staring at him in the dark. The principle of starting first is the strongest, and there is no need for Jian Wushuang to remind him. It is good. Yang Xiao was also very happy. He kicked the door directly and shouted, "The enemy is attacking. Everyone protects the governor and evacuates. I will block it here." With his voice, Chen Yuan could no longer pretend to be dead in the room. Xiang Yang and Jiang Shang also received Jian Wushuang's voice transmission and asked them to assist. "Master Chen, you wait here. Don't go out, it'll help Yang Xiao." Xiang Yang cupped his hands and took Jiang Shangfei downstairs directly. The field was instantly lively. Yang Xiao was not surprised when he saw these 2 figures, but he had a headache because Xiang Yang and Jiang Shang were too weak. "Don't say help, you may be dragged back." Xiang Yang noticed the strange look in the other party's eyes, nodded and said, "You just do it. Don't worry about us both." He and Jiang Shang's strength is indeed not the same, but the means are still there. Jiang Shang may be average, but Xiang Yang, a former master of the universe, still has some small means. Although his combat power is not very good, his opponent is just a puppet, which can achieve the effect of interference and containment. Otherwise it is pure waste, and all these years of cultivation have been in vain. It is good. Yang Xiao at this time he was not being polite. He shouted at the 1,000-foot tribe powerhouse next to him, "Why are you still standing there? Do it." Chapter 63:11. TSK. Didn't your master Chen say it earlier? You can't force it. The enchanting woman teased, and then directed the celestial centipede to attack the second shopkeeper again. This time, everyone is targeting a puppet, regardless of the shopkeeper and the fat chef. The defense of the puppet is amazing, but the strength is acceptable, and it can resist for a while. "Evil sword," Yang Xiao shouted angrily, and a long sword with a jug was unsheathed instantly. This sword name eliminates evil, which is the essence of Yang Xiao's swordsmanship. A sword came out, and the simple iron sword surrounded the store clerk covered by black crystal, and instantly shook it back. Although it can't hurt the opponent, it can knock back the puppet. The rest of the people also made ruthless moves, especially the celestial centipede, which took the opportunity to wrap around the second shopkeeper and spit out venom. The strong corrosion can't damage the puppet at all. It can only wrap around and trap the puppet. Although Jian Wushuang has been fighting, he has not been idle. While looking for suspicious objects, he monitored the 2 secret masters. Neither the dead infant cultivator of the demon sect, nor the 7 coins slashing immortal guard did anything. If he started at this time, and cooperated with the man who manipulated the puppet, he would probably hate this place today. Now several people behind the scenes are competing for patience. It seems that the people fighting below are their pawns. Even if they are injured and fall, they will not be moved. It's quite capable of hiding, so it'll force you once. Jian Wushuang chuckled lightly. With a nihilistic power, he instantly got used to the beams upstairs. The Qi Qianzhan Xianwei, who was hiding above, felt the strong psychic fluctuations, and immediately escaped. That thought force was not an attack on him, but a kind reminder. Remind each other that I know where you are hiding, just to force the opponent to show up. Whoa! The broken wood on the beams rolled down, and a figure fell below. Although he was wearing casual clothes, and even wearing a hat, Yang Xiao, who was Luqian Zhengxianhui, recognized him at a glance. Bronze Mountain Protector, since he's here he want help. Yang Xiao had known for a long time that there were strong people hidden in the dark, but he didn't expect it to be the guardian of the Copper Mountain of Zhanxianwei. This Bronze Mountain Protector is of the same faction as the South Mountain Protector. I am afraid that hiding in the dark is to solve his scourge. Now I don't know why he suddenly appeared, which makes him a little confused, but at this time, he must directly reveal the identity of the other party, so as not to pose a threat to him. He didn't believe that Tongshan dared to block so many people from facing him. Zhanxianwei kills each other, but it is the kind of death penalty that no one can escape. The Tongshan Dharma Protector who appeared had itchy teeth with hatred, tore off his hat, raised his eyes and glanced around, and finally looked at Yang Xiao, and said angrily, "I'm only responsible for protecting the governor. These little guys are not worth me. Let's go." He's not stupid, he can't take action against Yang Xiao at this time, but he won't help him either. These puppets are obviously here to kill Yang Xiao, so they can't help. Even if his identity was exposed, he stood in the distance and looked at him coldly. "Tongshan, have you forgotten who gave you a bowl of rice back then?" Yang Xiao's face was hideous. Originally, he was too lazy to deal with each other, but the more he thought about it, the more angry he became. Tongshan was originally just a Jianghu ranger, ordinary, not even innate. When he first came to the capital, he bumped into a son of an aristocratic family, and was seriously injured by the guard of the son of the aristocratic family. If Wei Jiuxian hadn't met, it was already frozen to death on the street. And NBBSB, but then what? Since becoming the Golden Crow Guard, he has gotten closer and closer to Nanshan, and finally separated from Wei Jiuxian. Now it is even more revenge. Yang Xiao's straightforward temper. How could he not be angry? You grew up in Zhangxianwei. How would you know my suffering? Tongshan looked embarrassed, although he retorted. He turned his head in a guilty conscience, not to look at Yang Xiao who was fighting hard. It seems disdainful, but the eyes can't deceive people. There was recollection in his eyes, which was the scene when he joined the Immortal Guard. He did not forget everything in those days. He knew who his benefactor was, and who he had relied on to get to this day. However, he did all this in order not to want to return to the embarrassment of the past. He is not wrong. I'm right. It's you who are wrong, you were born too well. Tongshan defended himself from the bottom of his heart, and his thoughts calmed down. Start analyzing the current situation. As one of the 4 guardians of the Immortal Slaying Guard, his ability and strength are not in vain. Judging from Yang Xiao's voluntary exit, it can be calculated that in Wei Jiuxian's layout, there are still people behind Yang Xiao. The 2 disciples of the Princess Mansion are also a little strange. Tongshan's eyes moved. Originally, he thought that these 2 were Wei Jiuxian's eyeliners in the Princess Mansion, but he didn't expect the others' combat power to be so tyrannical. He is obviously just an ordinary Jindan stage cultivator, but he can survive in the hands of puppets, and he can still be entangled. Interesting, I'll see how many you have left. Tongshan didn't panic at all. He knew that there was a strong man from Qiang sect in the dark. Although he despised the demon cultivator in his heart, he still recognized the opponent's strength. After all, he was a dead infant powerhouse. It's not much different from himself. As long as he takes action at this time, he can definitely turn the situation around, and even kill Yang Xiao on the spot, making this Mongshan County inspection come to nothing. He didn't know that the dead baby powerhouse was also watched by Jian Wushuang. Really calm, Jian Wushuang's mind power wandered in the dark night like a ghost, always staring at the dead infant monk. Because he couldn't find the person who secretly controlled the puppet, he could only stare at the demon elder first. This person's strength is not bad. Even if he makes a sneak attack, he can't achieve a one-hit kill. Originally, he wanted to force the other party to help out the Copper Mountain, but now that the other party can't do it directly, he can't do anything about it. As for which demon sect's supreme elder, there is no identity restraint. If they get the other party out, they will definitely break the jar and directly attack Yang Xiao. Therefore, the more calm the opponent is, the more beneficial it is to Jian Wushuang. It is enough to stare at the opponent with his mind power, And the more energy is to find the person who manipulates the puppet behind the scenes. Where is it? Jian Wushuang opened his eyes and stopped using his thoughts to sweep. Mind force can't find the breath of the other party at all. And there must be space crystals to cover. Now he can only rely on his inference to find it. When they first discovered the restaurant, Chen Yuan's team was still 30 miles away from the restaurant. At that time, the puppet's movements were stiff and his eyes were empty. But since the team approached, it began to become active. Especially after he entered the restaurant. The shop assistant was as correct as an ordinary person. It seems that I exposed too early. Jian Wushuang was a little annoyed. He was still too careless. He shouldn't have taken the initiative to show up before, but found a place to hide, or directly hide in the team. Chapter 63:12. As a result, the other party never showed up. The 10 Golden Crow guards all have strong auras on their bodies, and each is a cultivator of the Golden Core stage. This can't be wrong. He began to speculate one by one. There are not many people on the field. Simply put, there are only 4 types of people. One is his own people, Xiangyang, Jiangshang and then Chen Yuan. Yang Xiao is currently in the same camp as the 1,000-foot tribe powerhouse. As for why the other party is doing it, he doesn't know. But it is currently to save Yang Xiao's life. There are more people in the other group. There are 3 big puppets, and the person who controls the puppets behind them. Then there are the guardians of the Copper Mountain, the elders of the demon sect, and the Golden Crow guards in the house, all of whom came to kill Yang Xiao. Among the 3 parties, Jian Wushuang is considered a middleman, and even Chen Yuan is the same. And the 4th party is the Praetorian Guards. Hundreds of acquired ultimate martial pawns, plus 1 acquired ultimate martial artist. Is this team redundant? Every time the imperial court sends a governor, it does indeed send a forbidden army, which is not superfluous in normal terms. But this time, Jian Wushuang felt a little strange, because Dong Biao has his own problems. But he is just an innate martial artist. Although he is in charge of leading the team, he cannot do more. Yang Xiao alone can overturn the entire forbidden army. What made him suspect the most was that Dong Biao obviously knew the inside story. But he dared to drink with the strong men of the 1,000-foot tribe at such a critical moment. Also drunk unconscious. Blindfolded, Jian Wushuang saw the problem. The color in his eyes twirled, and there was a hint of contempt at the corner of his mouth. He said in his heart, "This Dong Biao is a martial artist, he can't be so smart. I'm afraid someone behind this trick is pointing it out." In addition, the other party knew that there was a problem with the restaurant, and he deliberately brought in drunkenness, so as not to have to shoot because of the fight, although he was not strong. But the forbidden army shot. It represented the court. This is different. Once Dong Biao makes a move, Jin Wuwei will also make a move. It seems that I have to go to meet this Captain Dong. Jian Wushuang stood up, crossed the windowsill, and the figure disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he had already arrived at the camp where the forbidden army was stationed. At this time, the camp was pitch black. No one was on duty, and he fell asleep on the ground. Some of them are because of the drug, but more because of a spell, which will make them sleep more deeply. Rosemary. Jian Wushuang walked closer, only to find the clue. No wonder I couldn't find the problem with my mind power. I really didn't pay much attention to such a simple method. He touched his nose and shouted into Dong Biao's tent. "Xiaowei Dong, you came out to see me by yourself, or let the person behind you come out to see me?" Dong Biao's own problem is very small, but it can be found from the details that everything has something to do with him. Although there is no problem with the breath of the other party, but every time a decision can be made so quickly, the person who manipulates the puppet is definitely by his side. Looking at the tent, he snapped his fingers, and the torches planted on the ground suddenly lit up. You can't hide. Seeing that the opponent couldn't come out, Jian Wushuang made a one-handed tactic, and a wind fighting technique was immediately lifted, opening the tent instantly. He was not polite either, and rushed over, wanting a quick solution. Kindness. When he approached, he realized that the 3 people in the tent had no heartbeats. The breath probed by the power of thought is a token on the chest of the three people. Ancient token. Jian Wushuang raised his brows. He knew this token, and even had it on him. It was obtained from the spirit monsters in the Jiang Kingdom's palace. I originally thought about research, but it turned out that the power above was very strange, and could not be driven, so I gave up. Didn't expect to meet here this time. Holding 3 tokens, there is a white eye above it. The piece I got earlier was a black eye. Obviously, there is an identity gap between the two. Just when he was surprised, the fight in the restaurant suddenly changed. Not good. Jian Wushuang's heart sank, knowing that he had fallen for a trick. He wanted to rush back to the restaurant in a hurry, but when he took a step forward, he returned to the same place again. An enchantment rose all around. It's a formation, but the formation method contains a kind of supernatural power that is very common in the mundane. Shrink to the ground. It is indeed common for Jian Wushuang, but for this small world, it is not common, because only the great monks who have reached the realm of the gods have this kind of magical power. Even if they are to arrange a formation that shrinks into an inch, they also need the realm of gods. Jian Wushuang's brows jumped instantly. This was because the layout was manipulated this time, and there was a big loophole when he calculated the opponent. How could a puppet created by space crystals be an ordinary cultivator? Infants can't do it, it's probably a god. There was only one thing he couldn't figure out. Why did the opponent need a layout when he was in the realm of the gods? No, when I was at the peak of my combat power, was it still the 9-star universe god? Now I'm not calculating this and that in such a broken place, just to restore my strength. Thinking of this, he wanted to understand. Since everyone is the same, let's see who is stronger. He didn't take this kind of formation into his eyes yet. He just thought that the person who arranged the formation was probably just a god. But after he figured it out, he was no longer worried. One after another thought power erupted from him, like a dragon in the dark night, biting towards the demon hidden in the dark night. Jian Wushuang stood still. His eyes shone brightly, and the battle of the psychic power flashed a flash of light. But in an instant, a hole was torn in the formation. You must resist. His figure rushed out instantly, running towards the restaurant, using the fastest speed. Tune the tiger away from the mountain. After that, it will definitely be a killer. If he was later, he might not be able to see Yang Xiao himself. This is not the most important thing. If Xiang Yang and Jiang Shang died, there would be nowhere to make sense. These two are his dear friends and relatives, the kind who must not die. Xiang Yang has a relationship with Xing Luo behind his back, and Jiang Shang is Jiang Shang's daughter. It can't even die. Although I don't know how the other party got this daughter, and I don't know if that Jiang Shang is the Jiang Shang he knows. But taking the other party out will definitely give Hui Qing a surprise. Directly broke through. So you can't die. Boom. In order to reach the inn as quickly as possible, he didn't even go through the gate, but slammed into it. Whoa. The broken plank flew out instantly. The dust dissipated, and Jian Wushuang appeared in the inn. It's okay, they're all alive. When he just rushed in, he didn't dare to be distracted and use his mind to check their breath. Seeing his appearance, Chen Yuan upstairs let out a sigh of relief. Chapter 63:13. Just now, Yang Xiao and others were about to take down the second shopkeeper, but a mysterious strong man appeared, seriously injuring everyone with one palm. If it weren't for that celestial centipede, I'm afraid that Yang Xiao and others would have been beheaded by that mysterious powerhouse. Brother Wushuang, you've come. Xiang Yang's breath was floating. Obviously he had just experienced life and death, and now he was still feeling a little scared. He quickly pulled Jiang Shang behind Jian Wushuang, and only then did he feel a little sense of security. Jiang Shang is not so afraid of death. His eyes are still cold, his arrogant little head is held high, and his tone is sharp. Senior Wushuang, it was the black-clothed powerhouse who shot just now. Just one palm will seriously injure everyone. I am afraid it is one of them. A great cultivator in the infancy. Glancing at the calm Jiang Shang, Jian Wushuang was very satisfied, because it was very similar to Jiang Shang, who was in the Qi temple back then. He remembered his calmness when chasing the opponent, and he was brave and resourceful in the face of his pursuit. Senior Wushuang. Jiang Shang felt awkward being stared at all the time. His face blushed slightly, and his eyebrows lowered, his voice softened. Cough cough. Jian Wushuang quickly closed his eyes, coughed dryly to hide his embarrassment, and then turned to look at the mysterious old man in black. The other party was full of silver hair and dressed in black, looking full of energy. This is not the secret demon dead infant powerhouse, but a strong man he never noticed or discovered. Even now face to face, he didn't notice each other's breath. Your layout is much more difficult than a puppet. Jian Wushuang took a step, and his figure rose sharply, looking at the other side. The old man in black standing on the broken beam. But his eyes were full of surprise. He forbeared and calmly said, "How did you destroy the great formation I laid?" Simple. Jian Wushuang's thoughts moved, and the power of nothingness rose up, which was the power of consciousness manifested by powerful thought power. It can even be a conscious incarnation. Once the mind power is burned, it can be done by killing the baby. So strong. The old man in black was shocked. Immediately, he seemed to have thought of something and exclaimed, "Are you a powerhouse in the upper realm?" He could see Jian Wushuang's aura, only in the Jindan period, because Jian Wushuang did not hide his aura at this time. But the powerful thought force was clearly comparable to the realm of the gods. That's why he blurted out the upper bound powerhouse. Upper realm. Jian Wushuang's heart moved. Although he knew that there was an upper realm, he didn't know anything about the upper realm, and he didn't even understand the current small world, such as the true immortal from the Tang dynasty, and the one who created the princess tomb. At this moment, someone happened to explain his confusion, so he pretended to be calm. "Everyone is the same. What's so surprising? Oh, do you think I'm also a powerhouse in the upper realm?" The old man in black's originally tense expression eased slightly. They are all people of layout, and their minds are very fast. With just one sentence, it can be deduced that Jian Wushuang is not from the upper realm, because he is not a powerhouse in the upper realm. The reason why he thinks Jian Wushuang is a powerhouse in the upper realm is because of the opponent's mind power. But just when Jian Wushuang said that he is also from the upper realm, it can be seen that Jian Wushuang's words are false. The old man in black did not come from the upper realm, but a local powerhouse in this world. The way to distinguish between the upper and lower bounds is power. The power system of the upper realm is completely different from the lower realm. Although the black-clothed old man has never been to the upper realm, he can see from the inheritance that there are many differences between the upper realm and the lower realm. "I haven't asked you what your name is?" Jian Wushuang. At the moment when the name was announced, Jian Wushuang frowned, knowing that he had just said the wrong thing. And now the old man in black and the old man in clothes has begun to change the subject. Apparently he won't believe any of his words anymore. Miscalculation. If the other party comes from the upper realm, he should know the space crystal. And he won't use this treasure to refine the puppet, but to restore his own strength. Obviously he doesn't know the space crystal, so he will refine it into a puppet. Jian Wushuang sighed secretly in his heart. As soon as they fought, they had already failed twice. The other party definitely has a 7 orifices exquisite heart. Although it is a mundane world, mundane wisdom cannot be underestimated. When they can't get through on the path of cultivation, some choose to walk the aisle, the heart, or the kidney. Obviously the other party was distracted. He has a strong state of mind, does not panic at all, and can use his few words to decipher his lies without triggering them, diverting the topic and attention. In this way, Jian Wushuang was completely passive. After reporting their names, Jian Wushuang spoke cautiously, but guessed the identity of the other party bit by bit through the other party's name. 9 Dust Immortal. This is the opponent's road number. To be able to refine puppets, you must have obtained the supernatural powers of the upper realm, and it is not surprising to know that the upper realm is strong. In terms of realm, he may have been a monk in the realm of the gods, but for some reason he fell into a baby, and now he should be in a cooperative relationship with Emperor Tang. After all, this kind of person who can be called a super strong in the mortal world will not succumb to imperial power. Cooperation. Following this point, Jian Wushuang opened his mouth. Fellow Taoist Jiuchen, since everyone has said it, it's better to be more straightforward. This time, give me a face and let Yang Xiao die. If you have any needs, feel free to speak up. Jian Wushuang's posture is very low, and he can't see the opponent's strength very well. But at least it is a monk in the middle stage of infant transformation. If he really wants to do it, he has no problem at all. But there are still so many people here. If Yang Xiao died, it would be very troublesome. Knowing that he had asked Yang Xiao about Jianghua in advance, it ended up like this. Immortal Jiuchen stroked his beard lightly, and said with a smirk, "There is a saying in the mortal world that I have always admired. So you might as well tell your fellow Taoists." "Please." Jian Wushuang stretched out his hand. "Eat the king's salary, and serve the king's affairs to relieve the king's worries." After Immortal Jiuchen finished speaking, he still looked like a cloudless wind. But Jian Wushuang's complexion sank. The other party didn't give any face, and the words were very simple. Taking advantage of others to do things for others. Yang Xiao's life could not be saved. If that's the case, then there's nothing to talk about with the other party. Xiang Yang took Jiang Shang upstairs, stayed with Chun Yuan, and saw the opportunity to take Chun Yuan directly. He quietly transmitted his voice, but his mind power had already risen to its peak. No one can escape from this seat today. Immortal Jiuchen raised a golden light in his hand. The flickering golden light shone on everyone who could not open their eyes. Even Jian Wushuang felt the stinging pain in his naked eyes. But fortunately he had the power to cover his surroundings, so he couldn't see anything clearly. But the rest of the people didn't feel so well. They all covered their eyes and curled up into a ball in pain. There were only 4 people present who were still standing. In addition to Jian Wushuang and Jiu Chun, it was the Bronze Mountain Protector and Xiang Yang. Chapter 63:14. Chapter 63:14-9 Prison Tower. As for the dead baby powerhouse of the demon sect, he directly showed his body, and countless black qi burst out from his body, as if to burst his entire body. This person can be undisturbed. Immortal Jiuchen was surprised and looked at Xiang Yang. Because only this person is unexpected. Needless to say, Jian Wushuang, if he can't bear even this ray of light, it's not worth his effort. The law of protection of the Copper Mountain has the treasure body protection, given by Zhangxianlu. The treasures are a good match, so you won't be overwhelmed. But what about Xiang Yang, an ordinary Jindan cultivator? Bah! Jiuchen shot directly, trying to stop Xiang Yang, who was pulling Jiang Shang away. The golden light pierced the wooden attic, and went straight to Xiang Yang. Jian Wushuang's thought power has been covering all around. How can he watch the opponent take action? And immediately the figure flashes, and he blocks in front of the golden light, holding it with one hand. It is a force of nothingness. And then the nothingness burns and turns into power, and directly hits the golden light scattered. The entire inn was shattered in an instant, and several Jindan cultivators, who had been seriously injured by the terrifying destructive force, fell into a coma. Come on! Jian Wushuang didn't have a sound transmission this time, and roared directly. He can see it now. The other party may want to kill everyone. No scruples around. Yang Xiao will die, Zhan Xianwei will also die, and Chen Yuan will not survive. Feeling the violent roar, the Copper Mountain that protected Chen Yuan was also stunned, and fled with Chen Yuan regardless of the rest. The order he received was to kill Yang Xiao, and bring Chen Yuan back to Taiyan City as soon as possible. It is the rule of Zhan Xianwei to act according to orders, and it will not be mixed with personal emotions at all. Even if Immortal Jiuchen and Jian Wushuang appeared halfway, he did not ask curious questions, but wanted to leave. Because in his opinion, Yang Xiao must die today. The inn was instantly destroyed. Even the forbidden army stationed in the distance was instantly shattered. But the golden light and the burning power of nothingness are still entangled. Jian Wushuang clenched his teeth, and the thought power of his whole body rose again, and then gathered in the palm of his right hand, again condensing the consciousness of nothingness. Combustion! The power of nothingness after the burning was 10 times stronger again, and the golden light shot out of the explosion was directly pushed back. It's a bit of a skill, but it's far from enough. In the face of the strong golden light that can destroy people's hearts, Immortal Nine Dust has an extra 9-story tower in his hands. Receive. The golden light that had been bounced back by Jian Wushuang completely entered the 9th-floor building. See clearly. This is the Supreme Treasure 9 Prison Tower. It is your honor to die under the Supreme Treasure. Immortal Jishin's white hair fluttered. The 9-story pagoda in his hand spun up to the sky, and he clasped Jian Wushuang straight, ready to suppress him. The terrifying attraction made Jian Wushuang unable to stand firm, and the surrounding sawdust was swallowed into the pagoda in an instant. Even the cultivators who were seriously injured and frequently died did not have time to escape, and all entered the 9 prisons pagoda. Treasure. Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth and sneered, but bloodshot overflowed from the corner of his mouth. Obviously he is also difficult to resist, and has been injured. I underestimated him. He moved slightly in his heart, but he also saw from this that the determination of the Tang Emperor. He was going to kill them all. What puzzled him the most was why a monk with such magical powers was willing to do things for Emperor Tang. There are probably many reasons behind this that he does not know, but now is not the time to think about that. With his current strength alone, he is not the opponent of Immortal Nine Dust at all, and he can only burn his mind power again. Moreover, it is necessary to burn all the power of thought, so as to hope to kill the opponent. However, Immortal Jiochin is not a fool. It is impossible to stand and let him kill, and he must find the right opportunity. Click. The floor shattered, and his figure slowly rose. Go on an adventure. Jian Wushuang made up his mind, and began to approach the 9 prisons pagoda. If you want to kill the opponent with a single blow of thought power, you must get close. It happened that the other party also wanted to suppress him with the 9 prison tower, so he could use this opportunity to approach the other party and kill him with one hit. But there is also a drawback. That is, once Jian Wushuang's psychic power is burned to exhaustion, with his current strength alone, without the support of psychic power, he may be instantly sucked into the 9 prisons tower. At that time, even if the opponent died, the instant power of the 9 prison tower was enough to shatter Jian Wushuang's body. He entered this world just a mortal body. Even after becoming a cultivator of the Jindan stage, he did not have any modifications to his body, nor did he have the protection of strength. Even if he was immortal, ordinary cold weapons were enough to disappoint him, not to mention the strangulation of the 9 prisons tower. But at the moment he has no better choice. Escape? Such an opportunity, escape, it may take many years to meet again. And running away is not his motto. Even if his body is shattered, as long as his soul is still there, that's enough. The soul cannot be changed, and his mind power is so powerful, even because of the soul. Even if there is an underworld in this world, there is no way to take his soul. Even if the soul cannot return to the body of the deity, Yu Kanshu wandering in this world can find another body again. Fight. After calculating everything, Jian Wushuang sprayed blood and covered his chest, revealing a false image that could no longer be supported. Immortal Jishin's face also leaked a ferocious look of joy. Haha, the powerhouse of the upper realm. You are about to fall. Everything you have is mine, and your soul, the fear and inheritance hidden in your depths, will belong to me. 9 prisons suppressing demons. Jian Wushuang and the 9 prisons pagoda ran in both directions. But just as it was about to be suppressed, the surroundings seemed to be still. There were sawdust and broken wine jars floating in the air, and among these noisy garbage, there was a terrifying scorpion that shrank. Eye of the Candle Dragon, Jian Wushuang shouted angrily. A red light burst out from the center of his eyebrows, and his huge pupils instantly turned into stars. Although there is no treasure on his body, the eye of the torch dragon in the divine beast soldier is the earliest treasure he obtained, and he has long been familiar with it. Even if the treasure is not there, he can use the secret magic power. Relying on the burning power of thought, he awakened the power that manipulated the eye of the torch dragon, and the burst of light that instantly burst out was enough to strangle ordinary monks in the realm of the gods. Immortal Jiuchen couldn't react, and his eyes instantly lost their brilliance. The 3 puppets below also stopped quietly. The 9 dust immortal, who originally floated in the air, did not have any scars on his body, but fell straight from the air. At this time, everything around was also moving. The repressive power of the 9 prisons pagoda immediately swept in. It was just a moment of power, but Jian Wushuang was swallowed into it, and together with the body of immortal 9 dust and 3 puppets, all entered the 9 prison tower. The power dissipated. The 9 prisons tower smashed heavily on the ground. The golden light on it disappeared, and the night fell again. Chapter 63:15. Chapter 63:15. Explain the surrounding area has been razed to the ground. Chen Yuan and others, who had already escaped from the range, returned cautiously after a while, but only saw a small 9-story tower on the ground, almost as tall as a person. What about Senior Wushuang? Jiang Sheng looked puzzled. Xiang Yang turned around near the 9-story pagoda, and said in a strange tone, "This is stronger than the aura of a magic weapon. It should be a treasure. With Brother Wushuang's current strength, I'm afraid there will be more luck than luck." "What are you talking about? Aren't you Senior Wushuang's friends? Don't hurry to rescue Senior Wushuang." Chen Yuan stood aside anxiously. "Save?" Xiang Yang sighed. "What do you want me to save? His strength is not as good as Jian Wushuang. Although his psychic power is also very strong, he does not have the magical power to burn the secret method, which is at most comparable to some late Jindan cultivators. What is in front of you is a treasure that can be used by Yin Xian. No one in this world can fully motivate it. The magical powers used by Immortal 9 Dust should only be one of the layers in the 9-story pagoda. And the power is not mastered. If you master all the power of the first layer, it is enough to destroy this world." "Yes, but what should we do now?" Chen Yuan was worried and at a loss. At this time, the guardian of the Copper Mountain said, "If such a big thing happens, I think Qin Xiaobao, let me go back to Tian City first. I think His Majesty will send someone to investigate the next thing, because it is beyond our scope now. Boundaries, if we continue, it will be difficult to find anything." After this battle, Tongshan was also a little scared. If he hadn't run fast just now, once he was swallowed into the 9 prison tower by that suction, he would have been strangled in an instant. "Want to go?" A voice sounded from behind, and everyone couldn't help but look back. Which is the enchanting figure of the 1,000-footed tribe saint. This time, the powerhouses of the 1,000-foot tribe, including the celestial centipede controlled by the Holy Maiden, all died, and she was the only one alive, injured at the moment. Tongshan was very disdainful of this and sneered. "You are a little Jindan cultivator. Do you want to stop me?" Although he also suffered a lot of injuries, he still managed to deal with an injured Jindan stage. But in his opinion, if he can't do it now, he won't do it. Who knows what else to deal with if they don't fold it here? It will be a big loss. I am indeed just a trivial Jindan cultivator, but I still have it. The 1,000-footed saintess shook the cloth bag in her hand, and there was a totem of celestial feet above. After she finished speaking, she walked slowly with the cloth bag in her hand, and said in a threatening tone, "You can kill Jindan cultivator now, but I don't know if you can escape from Huaying Tianzi's hands. It's impossible, absolutely impossible. Your natural foot has already exploded. The saintess of your 1,000-foot tribe can only cultivate 1 natural foot at most, and the rest are not as good as the natural foot. You must be scaring me." Tongshan's complexion changed greatly, and he kept retreating. "Even if you are not as good as your own destiny, as long as you have the strength of Jindan in the later stage, we can keep you." Yang Xiao also walked out at this time. The rest are dead. Among the remaining people now, except for the guardian of the Copper Mountain, the goals are similar, and Chen Yuan is not important. So as long as they kill the protector of Tongshan, they can also take Chen Yuan to Mongshan County. Yang Xiao, I'm the guardian of the Immortal Slayer, and now I'm taking Chen Yuan back to Tian City. Do you want to disobey? Tangshan no longer had the guts to use his strength to threaten, so he could only use his official position to suppress Yang Xiao. However, Yang Xiao dismissed this and took out the token of Zhan Xianwei from his waist and threw it directly to Tangshan. Are you going to rebel? You are not afraid of causing trouble for Wei Jiexian. Tangshan was completely panicked this time. In addition to Chen Yuan, there are two powerful characters on the field now. If these people are besieged together, he will definitely be finished. He didn't want to die here. It was his lifelong dream to finally climb the ranks of fake babies and become a super strong man. For this dream, he could give up everything. Loyalty, reason and faith can be discarded. Only cherish your own life. When I found out that something was wrong, I immediately began to give in. Yang Xiao, no matter what, we are considered brothers from the same sect. Do we have to make trouble like this? Step back 10,000 steps. I can pretend that nothing happened. You kid, you were quick enough to admit it, but it's too late. Xiang Yang directly drew his sword and shot. The saintess of the 1,000-foot tribe also untied the cloth bag, and a blood-colored centipede flew out of it. This is not a celestial centipede. This is a mutant blood centipede that is more powerful than the celestial centipede, and it is already a combat power in the infantization stage. Even if Tangshan is at its peak, it is definitely not the other party, but he still has the ability to escape. Unfortunately, he is injured now, and with the siege of everyone he can't escape. In the face of Xiang Yang's strange swordsmanship, his legs were instantly disconnected if he didn't pay attention. What? Tangshan fell directly to the ground, no longer able to fight, gritted his teeth and endured the pain of his short leg. His eyes were full of resentment. Yang Xiao, if you have a grudge against him, I'll leave it to you. Xiang Yang withdrew his sword and walked to the side, without killing him. Because in his opinion, this is an opportunity to get closer to Yang Xiao. Before Jian Wushuang tried his best, he would send him a voice transmission. Once the 9-prison tower had no owner, he would take the 9-prison tower with him. When he came out of the 9-prison tower, he would make another plan. And the black puppet among the 3 puppets must be Bring. There is also to win over Yang Xiao. This person knew something about Jianghua, and he had to take it with him. He couldn't let the other party go, and he couldn't offend the other party. Never mind. Yang Xiao closed his eyes slightly, shook his head and said, he has become a waste, there is no need to add more killings. He still failed to kill him. He felt that the other party was also acting impartially, and he didn't do anything to him. Although he had that kind of heart, he didn't care about the argument. Xiang Yang shook his head secretly. Childish. Want to influence a Dao chaser. Unless you become an elixir for the other party to eat. He is also an old guy who has lived for hundreds of epochs, and his understanding of human nature is far from comparable to these ordinary people. Those who pursue strength are also called chasing Taoists. They are often unscrupulous, but they know right from wrong. But in order to become stronger, they can give up all their cognitions. This is the ruthlessness of followers. They say they are demons, but they will never take another look at useless mortals. And they will not bully the weak for nothing. But the weak have the treasures they need in their hands, and they will kill the opponent to the treasures without compromise. Chasing Dao is very simple, just to become stronger. In order to win over Yang Xiao, Xiang Yang was a little disdainful in his heart, but he did not refute the other party on the face. Leaving the crippled bronze mountain protector behind, Xiang Yang carried the 9 prisons pagoda on his back, and left the place with everyone. Chapter 63:16. An hour later, there was a cloud of blood in the distant sky, and the cloud layer was filled with thick blood. Immortal Master, the 9-prison tower is gone. The blood cloud only paused for a moment, and then returned the same way. As for the bronze mountain protector on the ground, he didn't even look at it. Taiyan City, the palace of mental cultivation in the imperial palace. Emperor Guangfuli Miao sat cross-legged on the futon, and there was an illusory light and shadow opposite him. If you look closely, you can see the silhouette of the other party, and the features of his face. If Jian Wushuang was present, he would definitely be able to recognize the identity of the other party. It was immortal Jiuchen who had been killed by his mind power earlier. At this moment, it turned into a ray of soul shape and maintained consciousness with the power of thought. The 9-prison tower is gone. The phantom trembled and said, "You said that the 9 prisons pagoda disappeared in place?" Tang Huang nodded and comforted. "No need to worry about Immortal Master. I have already sent someone to chase. And the 9-prison tower is so special. Those people will definitely not be able to move." What do you know?" The illusory Jiuchen shouted while suppressing his anger. "You think they are just ordinary monks? If they are ordinary monks, the body of this seat will not die. And it is a trivial matter that the power accumulated over thousands of years will dissipate. Once you let the other party control the 9-prison tower, you will definitely discover the secrets in the glacier of the Northern Territory. Do you understand?" Tang Huang, who was scolded, was not angry at all, and his face did not even change. He just said quietly, "Then we can only start the final plan in advance. Everything has been arranged, and I will wait for the Immortal Master to arrange it in person. That's the only way." Jiuchen closed his eyes slightly, but he was unwilling. Those so-called plans were not as important as the 9 prisons tower in his heart. As long as the 9-prison pagoda is there, even if he reaches the upper realm, he will be able to conquer the world. Tian City South Tower. At this time, Wei Jiuxian, wearing a coarse black robe, stood upstairs and looked at Tian City, which had fallen into darkness, with thousands of thoughts in his heart. A moment later, a cloud of mist descended, condensing into a black figure, kneeling on one knee and respectfully saying, "Commander, Yang Xiao and others have completely disappeared, together with the mysterious monk who has been hiding in the dark." "Well, keep looking." Wei Jiu didn't turn his head back, and his tone was calm. This was reasonable, but it was beyond his expectations. The original normal path was that Chun Yuan was brought back. But there is a variable. The mysterious Immortal Master beside His Majesty instantly made this simple situation difficult. The mysterious cultivator of Jiang country and the ancient mysterious cultivator are all variables. There are not many people who can kill him and silence him. It's really interesting that he ended up being silenced, but it's just right. Let you go completely crazy, so that I won't try to induce him step by step. Wei Jiuxian turned his head towards the stairs with his hands behind his back. He shouted, "Someone, help me send a letter to the King of Desire. Tower of 9 prisons." Although it is only the size of a human shape at this moment, the inner world, the first floor alone, is far beyond this mortal world. This is the power of the treasure. If it was before, this kind of treasure would be garbage to Jian Wushuang. An ordinary treasure can make Yanxian crazy, and the slightly wealthier Dianxian won't care. But this treasure should not appear in this mundane world. For Jian Wushuang, Yanxian and Dianxian were just detachments from the lower-level universe. Not to mention in time and space. Even in the original universe, Dian Immortal and Yanxian are not considered strong. But at that level of the universe, compared to the present, the gap is bigger than the starry sky. In a small mundane world, it is indeed a very rare thing to hide such a treasure that can only be nurtured by the primitive universe. It is like a cultivator of the phase, directly facing Dian Immortal. Inside the broad first floor, the surroundings are like daytime, with plenty of light sources, but nothing can be seen. This is the law of light. What appears to be a ray of light is actually the greatest darkness. There was no difference between the darkness in front of him and the light in front of him. Call. In the white world, the first breath was exhaled, and an illusory figure floated in the sky, aimlessly as if lost. This is the 9 prisons tower? The ideological body suddenly opened his eyes, and his mind power controlled his soul, causing his figure to stagnate in mid-air. It is Jian Wushuang. At this moment, his soul aura is very different from that in the outside world. If the outside world sees him, I am afraid that he will be surprised and speechless. Because there was a black mist swirling around him, which was constantly swallowing and collapsing, and every shining point of light around him represented a star. My soul power has increased here? Jian Wushuang himself was also very surprised. He did not expect that after entering the 9-prison tower, the power of his soul had recovered a lot. Before he entered this world, he was just a clone, and his strength was almost the strength of 7 stars. At this moment, his soul power has reached the level of Daojun. If you want to break this treasure, it is not a problem at all. After leaving the treasure, if he can still maintain this kind of soul power, he can directly soar during the day and go to a larger world. A Khonshu Comet can even condense a powerful body, comparable to the combat power of Daojun. However, there was one thing he was worried about. What if the power of the soul decreases after leaving the 9 prisons tower? At that time, his soul power will be reduced again, and it will become a mind power comparable to the state of the gods. But it cannot last for a long time, and it must be difficult to condense a matching body in the small world outside. Otherwise it will not be possible. No one has achieved that level of soaring for so many years. While hesitating, Jian Wushuang decided to search here first, but he still remembered that when he was swallowed, he came in along with the 3 puppets. He didn't like the other 2 puppets, but the one made of space crystals could help him a lot. Maybe you can use that puppet to let some of the power of the soul escape from here. For most of the remaining soul power, you can explore this treasure, and you can even take this treasure and use it to restore your own soul power. He knew that the 9-prison pagoda had 9 floors, and Immortal 9 Dust could only drive the first floor, and he didn't understand the first floor, so he might be able to surprise him later. With his current soul power at the level of Daojun, he will soon be able to comprehend the first level. After paying attention, Jian Wushuang's thought power spread, and began to look for the puppet. But after his thought power spread, there was an unbelievable look in his eyes. I have such a strong sense of mind power that I can't explore the entire first floor. This treasure is not simple, at least it is a peak treasure. Jian Wushuang's heart moved, and his soul was divided. His realm is very high. As long as the power is there, all the secret methods in his consciousness can be used. At this moment, he cast a clone that devoured one. The body is instantly divided into thousands, and each clone has the strength of the rank 9 Great Evolution Immortal. Chapter 63:17. Chapter 63:17. The strength of space. Thousands of avatars. Each flew around. The speed of the clone is very fast, and every breath is tens of thousands of miles. And his mind power can cover about 100 million miles. The various clones flew for a full day, and their thoughts were connected together. The scope was comparable to a big world, but they still failed to explore the boundaries. Fortunately, I found the puppet. His heart was relieved, and the thousands of clones spread out to find the boundary. And the clone that got the puppet stayed in place, and prepared to divide the power of the soul. At this moment, the puppet has turned into pieces. In the hands of Immortal Jiuchen, the 9-prison pagoda can easily destroy the puppets made by space crystals, even though it only used the little secret technique on the first floor. Fortunately, the space crystal has become a powder fluid, and can be recondensed into a human form, and the power of space is still there. This is enough for Jian Wushuang to use. Not only that, he even prepared to re-refine the space crystals, and by means of Immortal 9 Dust, he made a fleshy body with the laws of space. The puppets refined by Immortal Jiuchen only used the hardness of space crystals, and did not play the biggest role. But for a cultivator of the gods, it has been used to the extreme. But for Jian Wushuang this is not enough. Because of the hardness of space crystals, in his opinion, it is not a strength. In fact, the space of a world is not the most stable, and it is not even comparable to the stability of time. When he became the master of the universe, he could break the void in the infinite world. Later, he went to the world of the gods. With the fighting power of the universe gods, he also broke through the space-time, and even crushed the space-time. The powerful space of the world god continent is like thin paper in the eyes of the strong. However, the upper limit of the world continent to breed strong people is the 9-star universe god, and even the of space and time. But its space laws can only maintain the Lord of the universe under the universe god. A slightly stronger cosmic can break through space, but some cosmic gods cannot break the flow of time. Only a more powerful cosmic can do it. Therefore, space is a very easy rule to break in one world. This is why most of the powerhouses in the lower realm have risen through the shattered void. For those mortals who cannot soar, shattered void is already very powerful. But for a super powerful person with a vision like Jian Wushuang, it is a pediatrician. Shattering the void is purely by strength. If you want to gain more powerful power, you must rely on the law and the blessing of the Tao of this world. Just like the original emperor refining a big world, becoming the controller, and relying on the power of one world to become the superpower of the emperor. On the up, master one side of the universe, or create a universe, and become the master of the universe. It seems to be above the law, but it actually relies on the power of the law. The same is true for the universe God. The laws of the universe belong to themselves, and they can even be suppressed by the supreme rules. But where does the power use come from? Time and space? Starry sky? This question 9 is a bit out of line. At present, Jian Wushuang has not fully understood it, but with his knowledge and speculation, it can be judged that these powers probably come from the existence who created the starry sky. The power of the 12 star spirits is only a part of the starry sky. The starry sky cannot carry so much power, so it is divided into practitioners. That's why there are so many powerhouses who are controlled by the supreme rules. But the essence is still inseparable from the laws of the stars. And the law of the starry sky is the creator of the starry sky, or a world beast. Whoa! Jian Wushuang guided the space crystal while thinking about the way forward. Restoring strength is just a small episode, and it will only waste hundreds of thousands of years at most. And the road ahead is still a calamity. That is the most important to him. After transcending the divine tribulation, whether it is the universe God or the space-time God, he is already invincible on the world God continent. Whether to go to the starry sky or stay, it was all in his mind. Leaving to trace the whereabouts of the prophet, at the beginning, he refined the beast's divine weapon for him, and then disappeared, as if he had never crossed the world God continent in the future. The mystery of the other party reminded him of Teacher Xuani, and in the world he is currently in, he once dreamed of the prophet's back. That dream of the prophet's back was an unexpected thing. He had been groping, wanting to see the prophet again, but none of them succeeded, and he still needs to explore step by step. Prophet, Teacher Xuani? Jian Wushuang shook his head lightly. What exactly are you planning? At the beginning, he guided me from a small world, sent me treasures and secret methods, helped me step by step out of the small world, went to the original universe of Dianhuan, met Qi Temple, went to the 9 great spaces, and finally entered the world God continent. What kind of plans are there? To this day he still doesn't understand. In fact, he was about to give up at the beginning, but he met the sword immortal Ding Bai, and attracted him to Dianhuan, and he was guided step by step. Just like today it is also a guide. I already have the combat power of the 9 stars cosmic god. Can't I see Teacher Xianyi? Can't help him? Jian Wushuang slowly closed his eyes. Although he didn't know how far the so-called future was, he knew that the time was very near. Sitting cross-legged, a trace of soul power and space crystallization merged into one. The first time failed, because his soul is too powerful. Those space crystals are only space crystals of this small world, and their ability to bear is too poor. At most, it can bear the power of the soul, that is 1 level higher than that of the gods. As for the power of the soul, which is 1 level higher than that of the gods, he is not very clear. According to the practice system in the small world, and the unified practice system in the outside world, it should still be in the Daoji realm. The unified practice system of the outside world is divided into acquired, innate, Daoji, Yuanshan, Mahayana, immortal, and emperor. Acquired includes all acquired creatures. Innate is a special life, but special life can also be transformed. For example, Jian Wushuang is an acquired special life. However, in the supreme law, he is not a special life. After all, His vision at that time was relatively short. There is a big gap between acquired and innate, but the realm is the same. The first step in the cultivation path is the Tao foundation, and this step includes a lot. It is said that all the cultivation realms in this small world today belong to Daoji. They are all practicing for the foundation. Above the Daoji is Vientian, which includes more. Among them, there are tens of thousands of laws alone, and the gap between the same realm is also very large. In Jian Wushuang's mind flashed a flash of memories of the weak period, and the power of the soul split again. After continuous splitting, it finally retained a trace of soul power and entered the space crystal. Call. The space crystal that has turned into powder has changed from black to transparent, like a stream surrounding Jian Wushuang. Chapter 63:18. Chapter 63:18 Jian Wushuang's surprise. Although there is no divine power, the power of law has reached the basic level, which is not bad. Once it absorbs the power of space crystals, it will almost have the ultimate combat power of this world. Jian Wushuang was very satisfied. This is the advantage of having a treasure, of course, provided that the treasure is special enough. If it is replaced with an ordinary treasure, no matter how much the gods of this world try to explore, they will not be able to get it. But the 9-prison tower can be manipulated by a little cultivator who fell from the realm of the gods, and can also use its own power, which is simply outrageous. If that alone was not enough, Jian Wushuang was surprised. It has been a day since he entered the 9 prisons pagoda, and the myriad Tao avatars have spread all around. The thought power of each clone covers a range of 100 million miles, and 10,000 clones cover a range of 1 trillion miles. But the boundary of the first layer has not yet been found. This place is like a boundless and boundless world. Jian Wushuang had to separate out some of the weaker clones to find the boundary, while the main clone stayed in place. The physical avatar is almost refined, and the shape is exactly the same as his appearance. The bronze-colored skin and the facial features like knife carvings all carry a fierce aura. Let's try to control the 9-prison tower now and release the body. I don't know what happened to Xiang Yang and the others. I don't know if there is a gap between the flow rate of time in the 9-prison tower and the outside world. And Jian Wushuang is very worried. He worries about Jiang Shang's safety. With that thought, he began to comprehend the power of the laws of the first-layer world. According to his calculations, a monk in the realm of the gods can control it, and with his current soul power, it is enough to take care of it. But after he comprehended several laws, his soul still couldn't control the 9 prisons tower. What happened? Jian Wushuang frowned. He has now comprehended several laws, and it is reasonable to say that he has long become the master of the laws. And the laws here are not simple, which are comparable to the original laws of the green fire realm. This can't control the 9-prison tower. The key is that he should not have too much. Mastering the first level is enough. Interesting. I underestimate the 9-prison tower. Its difficulty is beyond my imagination, and its scope is comparable to the higher world. I haven't found the boundary yet, but the further back I go, the weaker the power of space, and the limit is probably the same. It is the same size as the human world in the original 4 secret realms, but the laws are much stronger than the ordinary primitive universe, and it has touched the level of time and space. The more Jian Wushuang thought about it, the more he couldn't figure it out. I'm afraid he can only find out if he asks the other side in person. But at this moment, he thought that Jiuchen had fallen, so he was extremely puzzled. Forget it. Since you won't be able to grasp the first floor for a while, just open a hole at the edge and send the body out first. When you search for everything, you must be able to find some clues. Without further investigation, his main avatar, with his physical body, began to go to the weak space. Even if he could not master the 9 prisons tower, he could use his burning thought power to break the weak space on the first floor and send the physical body out. As long as the physical body goes out, leaving the rest of the main avatars here to continue to comprehend, there will be no delay at both ends. Well, choose this place. Jian Wushuang stopped. From the outside, it is actually no different from other places, but the space power here is very weak. He only needs to burn a little soul power to penetrate. Soul burning? What? Jian Wushuang formed a claw with one hand, and even if the fierce claw technique was not burning with divine power, it instantly shook the surrounding space, tear the sky and smashed the space directly, but failed to break the outside space, but still left a claw mark. There is a little starlight in the claw marks of the ravines. That is outside light. Walk! Jian Wushuang's body instantly turned into a crystal-clear water flow, and along the little stars, he left the 9-prison tower in an instant. Outside world. Xiang Yang, who was carrying the 9 prisons pagoda, felt a chill on his back, and suddenly dropped the 9 prisons pagoda, and quickly retreated. This made the others look over in confusion, but when they turned to look at the 9 prisons pagoda, their mouths widened. Except for Xiang Yang, he was the most worried at first, but when he saw the stream of water rushing out, he suddenly burst into joy. However, the rest of the people have lived in this mortal world since childhood. Although their own strength is also very strong, they are called Shangxian, but their vision is much smaller. This kind of magical skill is not even recorded in the ancient inheritance. The water flowed out, and instantly condensed into the appearance of Jian Wushuang, which was no different from what they saw. It's just that they looked at him in horror, a little unbelievable. Or Xiang Yang broke the silence, and quickly stepped forward and asked, "Brother Wushuang, have you regained your strength?" With such a change in body shape, at least it has to reach the immortal stage. This stage includes Yanxian and Dianxian, as well as Daojun. He also thought that Jian Wushuang had recovered to the level of immortality, so that he could take him to fly. In fact, he was right in guessing. Jian Wushuang really reached the level of immortality. But unfortunately it was only the power of the soul that reached immortality. Akanshu. But without a suitable body, it is impossible to carry an immortal soul. The growth of the physical body is inseparable from the law and wealth. And this is back to the original point. Everyone, don't you know me? The corners of Jian Wushuang's mouth rose. A smile leaked out, and his breath spread instantly. But instead of targeting everyone, he swept away all life around him, checking to see if anyone was staring at him. This time, his mind power coverage can reach the limit of 500 miles, a tenfold increase. It is a pity that when the physical body left the 9 prisons pagoda, the cracks absorbed a lot of space crystals, resulting in him not reaching the expected peak of infant transformation, or even the realm of gods, but maintained in the middle stage of infant transformation. This is a pity. I originally planned to come out and take this world directly, but it's not a big problem. The power of the soul in his flesh body has surpassed the realm of the gods, and the burning power is enough to rival the monks of the gods. This world does not pose much threat to him. Moreover, his current main avatar is in the 9 prisons tower. Even if the power of the soul is burned, it can be replenished in an instant. In this way, the power of the soul can be burned at will. The secret method of burning is really easy to use. When I recover my strength, I must study the secret method of burning. Jian Wushuang pondered in his heart. On the surface, he told everyone about his experience, because the others had too little knowledge. So he didn't say much, just said that he was trapped in the 9 prison tower, and got an ancient inheritance, and finally broke through in cultivation. He became a middle-stage cultivator of Huaying, and successfully broke through the 9 prisons pagoda. It's not to fool them, but to say too much, and these people don't understand. Regarding Xiang Yang, he didn't hide too much, but the sound transmission made a general statement, saying that he is now invincible in the world, and he can just go about it. Chapter 63:19. Chapter 63:19 asking even if he goes straight to Tian City now. He doesn't have any scruples. But when he said he wanted to go back to Tian City, everyone objected in unison. Even Xiang Yang said there was no need to go back now. At this time, Chen Yuan stood up and explained. Senior Wushuang just came out and didn't know it yet. We caught a dying Qiang cultivator the day before yesterday, and learned from the other party that there is an altar hidden in the underground of Mongshan County, which contains big secret. Oh really? Jian Wushuang looked suspicious. It's not that he doesn't trust Chun Yuan, but that he doesn't trust some people. For example, the saint of the 1,000-foot tribe. After the other party learned that he had reached the middle stage of infant transformation, his eyes kept dodging. Obviously, she didn't tell Chun Yuan about something, and it should be Yang Xiao who was conspiring with her. However, Jian Wushuang could see that Yang Xiao didn't know as much as that saintess. He looked at the saint of the 1,000-foot tribe and said in an irresistible tone, I don't care what relationship you have with Wei Jiuxian, or what kind of cooperation you have. I just want to know what your goals are. This, Yang Xiao took the lead in interceding and said, Senior, you and the commander should have some kind of cooperative relationship. Since everyone is their own, they must have some secrets, so why bother asking? Ah! Jian Wushuang turned to look at Yang Xiao, playing with his taste. Yang Xiao, don't you know about the 1,000-foot tribe? He didn't know it himself, he just wanted to deceive the other party. After all, Jiangguo's matter had not been figured out, and he didn't want to tear his face at this time. Yang Xiao was obviously stunned when he heard this sentence, but then he said firmly, The 1,000-foot saintess saved my life and cooperated with the great commander. I don't want to know about it. Save your life, Xiang Yang said sarcastically at this time. Yang Xiao, don't forget, it was Brother Wushuang who saved your life, he saved everyone. When this sentence is said, it will naturally stand firm. The same is true for Chun Yuan. He is a middleman. He went to Mongshan County because of one of these things. It's just that the rest of the people care about it. But everyone is very curious about the goal of the holy maiden of the 1,000-foot tribe. Except Yang Xiao foolishly thought that the other party saved his life and could not wait to dedicate himself. If I don't say it, will it be possible for the seniors to do it? The 1,000-footed holy maiden said angrily. Jian Wushuang shook his head and said indifferently, What you did to that demon cultivator before, I will do to you. Soul search. This spell is too simple. Once the soul is searched, all the secrets are known. Jian Wushuang's previous strength was not enough, and there were still strong people watching them secretly, so he didn't want to search Yang Xiao. But it's different now, he has the strength, and there is no one around, he can boldly search for his soul. He will find out about Jiangguo's affairs, and he will also get the purpose of the 1,000-foot saintess going to Mongshan County. It's just that he is considering whether to be so cruel in front of Jiang Shang. If the other party speaks out honestly, he is also willing to believe it. Stuck here for a while, Jiang Shang's eyes were clear, and he wanted to speak several times, but he didn't say it. Seeing this scene, Jian Wushuang softened his heart and said in a flat tone, I'll give you a chance to tell what's in that altar underground in Mongshan County. I don't care about the rest, it's good for everyone. Only it is not good for the 1,000-footed holy maiden. Of all the people here, only the 1,000-foot saintess knew what was in the altar. Yang Xiao did not insist on protecting the other party this time, but instead persuaded. Saint, this matter concerns the hundreds of millions of people in the Tang dynasty. Please let me know so that Senior Wushuang and the others can prepare in advance. Even if I say it, you won't understand. The 1,000-footed holy maiden smiled bitterly, and there was even a hint of sarcasm in her eyes. It's like watching a group of monkeys. What's the meaning? Jian Wushuang didn't react for a while, because no one dared to do so much in front of him for so many years. Could it be that this 1,000-footed saintess is the illegitimate daughter of the star spirit? If so, he really knows more than Jian Wushuang. But the probability of this matter is the same as Jian Wushuang is a waste material. How can a waste material cultivate to have the combat power of the 9 stars cosmos god? Obviously there is no such possibility. Just say it. It doesn't matter to you whether you understand or not. You don't have to worry about whether I believe it or not. My mind power is very strong. You should have seen this before. Mind power represents mind power, so you can't lie in front of me. Jian Wushuang was not in a hurry. After giving the opponent a reassurance, he also shrunk the 9 prison tower and played with it. Although the inside cannot be controlled, the outside is still easy to control. but it cannot be included in the body. Fortunately, his current physical body can be considered a special life of the space class. Even a drop of blood has a space in it, but it is not big, but it is still very simple to put down a small 9-story tower. The 1,000-footed holy maiden gave everyone a deep look. This made Xiang Yang, who was a little impatient, a little annoyed. He was about to attack, but was pressed by Jian Wushuang. Yang Xiao and Jiang Shang thought that what the other said was related to the secrets of the ancient monks. Although they were a little anxious, they waited patiently for the other to speak. Only Qin Yuan didn't seem to care at all. He is not a monk, and he is not interested in the secrets of monks, but he also has a secret in his heart. This secret is enough to shock hundreds of millions of people in the entire Tang dynasty. Therefore, in his opinion, the 1,000-foot saintess is not enough to have a secret in his heart. Important. This matter must start from ancient times. The 1,000-footed saint sighed. There was no recollection in his eyes, only a feeling of emotion. From her mouth, everyone knew the name of this world. Red-Eye Realm. This world is called the Red-Eye World. Everyone was a little surprised when they heard this name. Jian Wushuang is calculating. Does this Red-Eye have anything to do with Qi Yangzong? Xiang Yang's heart was not much surprised, but more sarcasm. How could he care about the name of such a small world? The 1,000-footed saint, with irony and arrogance in her eyes, continued. You may not know much about the realm. I can explain it to you like this. The red-eyed realm is only the weakest kind of world, the strong after the broken void. Do you know where you went? Upper bound. Yang Xiao answered honestly. This is what Immortal Nine Dust said before. And it is not ignorant to say it here at this time. But it still made the 1,000-footed saintess laugh for a while. Even a 3-year-old child knows that there is an upper realm. But what is the upper realm called? What ethnic groups are there? What cultivators are there? And how powerful do you know? You don't know. No need to refute, directly deny it to everyone. No wonder the other party is so proud. It seems that he really knows some secrets. In the upper realm, there are 72 ancient areas, each of which is countless times larger than the Red-Eye realm. Even a cultivator of the phase can cross an ancient area by flying alone. Even if you are old and dead, you must know that in the lower realm the lifespan of the God phase realm is thousands of years. In the upper realm, the lifetime is longer, and the God phase realm crosses the Scarlet Eye realm. It only takes a month. Can you understand how big the ancient realm is now? The 1,000-footed saintess smiled proudly, her bronze eyebrows raised very high. Chapter 63:20. Chapter 63:20. Dead water and living water. My God. Chen Yuan was shocked this time. As a scholar, he thought this world was big enough, and in his cognition, there was no upper bound. He thought it was a lie. Even if there is, it will not be much stronger than the Red-Eye realm. Yang Xiao is also the same. His eyes are wide and there is a strong yearning in his eyes. The cultivation path he took was very strange and extreme. Otherwise he would not have escaped from the hands of the late 9 Great Golden Elixir, and killed several people. Jiang Shang was young and didn't know much, so he was also extremely surprised, feeling that he was just watching the sky. I didn't expect the upper bound to be so exciting. She has been following her mother's footsteps and her whereabouts. But she has been searching for so long, and there is only a little clue. My own cultivation path is completely guided by my mother, and no one has ever thought about the wonders of the cultivation world. Now that I heard the grandeur of the upper realm, my mind became active, thinking about the scene where both mother and daughter ascended after finding their mother. Jian Wushuang looked stunned, stood on the spot without speaking, and did not have too many expressions. Only Xiang Yang was sitting on the ground alone, clutching his stomach. Brother Wushuang, have you been shocked by such a big world? Xiang Yang held back his laughter, looked at Jian Wushuang and asked with a serious face. In such a big world, I am afraid there must be strong souls. It's so terrifying. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath and interrupted. Okay, don't make trouble. No, this has nothing to do with Mongshan County, the grand narrative. Who wouldn't say? I also said the continent of the gods. Xiangyang shouted in a loud voice. Indeed, the grand narrative anyone can say. In their cognition, the world god continent was nothing, and the starry sky which is bigger, big enough to make mortals despair. But what about where? Feng Tiandi has been away from them for a long time. Jian Wushuang was just like that, so he felt disappointed. They too had that wonderful world. Xiangyang paused for a moment. The sarcasm in his eyes slowly turned into reminiscence. What are these two mumbling about? The thousand-footed holy maiden gave Xiangyang a strange look. The others were a little confused, because what Xiangyang had just said made them even more incomprehensible. At least there are explanations and contrasts in the description of the thousand-footed saintess, which can make them intuitively feel the power of the upper realm. Yang Xiao was a little excited at this time, and urged softly, "Saint, go on, brother Xiangyang is a hermit." After being surprised, "It is inevitable to say some nonsense, it's normal." This sentence deeply hurt Xiangyang's heart. Just as he was about to refute, he was interrupted by Jian Wushuang. "No need, you are the master of the universe." After talking about the structure of the upper realm, the thousand-footed saintess talked about the legend. This is all foreshadowing. Legend has it that there were 108 ancient domains in the upper realm, of which 36 ancient domains were broken and turned into billions of small worlds. Red-Eye World is one of them. Hearing this, all except Jian Wushuang and Xiangyang leaked out surprised expressions. No one interrupted this time, and the thousand-foot saint continued. After the ancient domain was broken, it became a billion worlds, and the Red-Eye realm came from this. But after the ancient domain is broken, the power will slowly dry up, and one more monk, this Feng world's power is 1 point less. I see. Yang Xiao and Jiang Shang leaked the same expressions. This matter is not such a big secret, many people should know it. Jian Wushuang and Xiangyang have long known that the power of this world is drying up, and it will not take long for it to become a purely mortal world. But the lifespan of the mundane world is very long, maybe after 100,000 years or 1,000,000 years. When the power of life is also exhausted, the mundane will disappear. Along with the grass and beasts, it will perish, collapse and merge into the void. The world is destroyed by this. But this is too far for the mortal. This matter has already spread in the ancient times. At that time, the monks practiced frantically, and even spawned a lot of demons. They killed each other, and reduced their opponents in order to soar. In that era, a red eye appeared and changed everything. Hearing these two words, Jian Wushuang thought of the ancient token, but didn't ask face to face. This time he really listened, and the more I listened, the more amazed it was. A legend told by a little monk in the mundane world surprised a super strong man with the power of the 9-star cosmic god. Xiangyang thought he was crazy. Substance-based, this world, what is it that includes this world? It is a bigger world, and there is a bigger world outside the bigger world. But in essence, it is the starry sky, and that is the power of the starry sky. Jian Wushuang muttered to himself, making Xiangyang think he was crazy. He smiled unconcernedly. The thousand-footed saint on the opposite side didn't lie, he could see it. Whether the legend is true or not, he needs to verify it himself. Brother Wushuang, what did you hear? Why are you so surprised? Xiangyang couldn't help but ask through voice transmission. Jian Wushuang said directly. The thousand-foot saintess just said that the mysterious technique of the eyes of God can improve the strength and realm without absorbing the power of the red-eye realm. I think it is very interesting, and I might as well talk about my own understanding. One side of the world, a Khonshu. Calm is like a pool of water. The red-eye world is obviously a side of stagnant water, and the 72 ancient regions of the upper world are a river. Even those who live by the river drink whatever they want. It's not over, because the water just passes by their door. His metaphor is very fitting. This time Xiangyang finally understood. At the same time he exclaimed, "This inheritance secret technique is simply against the sky, against the sky." I can't say the same. As far as I know, although the red-eye world is a pool of stagnant water, what if there are strong people willing to pour water? Jian Wushuang assumed. Xiangyang nodded earnestly. then shook his head. Impossible. If water could be injected, the strength of the dead monks would return to the pool. But from Qianz's mouth, the monks who were killed at that time did not return their strength. Just to stop the other party from continuing to absorb the power of the Scarlet Eye realm. You're right, but those people are too weak. Jian Wushuang shook his head. If he didn't get the 9 prisons tower, he might believe it. And the monsters that I encountered when I entered this place were all cosmic gods. And they had the combat power of 6 or 7 stars. The upper limit of this world is far from being as simple as Xiang Yang imagined. Besides, he also dreamed of the prophet, a figure who could disappear from other memories. The master of the universe can create the universe, and it is very simple to activate a universe, but the probability is very small. In the world of red eyes, there is nothing special except for the mysterious magic of the eyes of the 1,000-footed remaining girl. If you come to the secret technique, it is indeed possible. But this kind of secret technique is used by ordinary practitioners. Even if it is taken by the emperor, and even the Lord of the universe, what is the use? Could it be that you really want to create a sky-defying secret technique? If it is created, it can jump over a river and absorb the power of a sea. Isn't it superfluous? Chapter 63:21. The power absorbed is ultimately in the starry sky. Although it is useless, Jian Wushuang is very curious about the person who can create this secret technique. If he can, after he regains all his strength, he can directly reverse the time and space to see with his own eyes how that person created this secret technique. After thinking about this in his heart, he realized that what he wanted at the beginning was about the underground altar in Mongshan County. Could it be that this has something to do with the mysterious eye technique? After all, it has been paved for so long. If it doesn't matter, it's out of the question. Isn't it a waste of time? The 1,000-footed holy maiden spoke again. But this time, she didn't have much arrogance. The previous Jian Wushuang metaphors and assumptions were indeed something she had never heard of. Let's put it this way. The reason why the Red Eye Realm is called the Red Eye Realm is because of the mysterious eye technique. But the mysterious eye technique comes from the Divine Eye clan. I have learned about the mystery of the Divine Eye, and there is very little introduction to the Divine Eye clan. However, it is different for the Red Eye Realm, because the inheritance of the Divine Eye in the Scarlet Eye Realm is different from other worlds, or it is more powerful than the ancient realm of the Upper Realm. According to the records, the inheritance of the Divine Eye mystery is divided into 7 grades. The first class is the easiest. As long as you are born with a black eye token, you can use the token to go to the Northern Glacier and pass the first class assessment. You can get the inheritance. Speaking of this, Xiang Yang couldn't help but urged. You should go straight to Mongshan County. And it's going too far, so as not to waste everyone's time. No problem, speak at your own pace, don't worry, Jian Wushuang said, and Xiang Yang shut up again. The rest of the people are not in a hurry, because just like listening to a story, they naturally need to know a little more. Otherwise there will be no sense of attraction. Too bad the story has come to an end, the 1,000-foot holy maiden said regretfully. The ancestors of our clan once got a 4th-class token, passed the assessment set by the God Eye clan, and successfully accepted the inheritance. With the inheritance, he quickly reached the peak of the phase. Just when the ancestor was about to break through to the upper realm in one fell swoop, he was attacked by a despicable villain. He took the ancestor with a secret method of seizing the house. Both lost their physical body and strength, and the lost strength could not be dissipated by itself because of the practice of the magic eye, but also because the power was too strong. Others could not absorb it at all, and was finally sealed by the strong in the clan. I want to wait for the ancestors to recover before absorbing the power that I lost, but I didn't expect the ancestors to fail in the end. Although it has been 1,000 years since this incident, the 1,000-footed saintess is still a little sad, because their tribe almost gave birth to an ascendant. What a glory! When everyone heard this, they all reacted. You mean in the underground altar of Mongshan County, there is the power of your ancestors being sealed? That's right. I went this time to recover the power that was sealed. I forgot to mention that it was the great Tang ancestor who sealed this power thousands of years ago. The 1,000-foot saint added. But this sentence brought a huge association to Jian Wushuang. Great Tang ancestors? Isn't that the monk from Baoguang Temple? The ancestors of the Qianzu tribe were sealed, but now they appear in Mongshan County because of the contemporary Tang emperor. There is a conspiracy in this matter. Jian Wushuang couldn't figure it out for a while. He turned his head to look at Xiang Yang and Jiang Shang, and then said, "If that's the case, then don't be stunned. Let's go directly to Mongshan County. It's better to be careful. I have informed the elders of the clan that I will arrive outside Mongshan County in a few days, and it will not be too late to enter Mongshan County together." The 1,000-foot saintess was a little worried. Yang Xiao was fiddling with a token on the side. He knew without asking, he must be calling someone. Tell the great commander exactly what happened and send reinforcements. A power at the peak of the phase is enough to drive all monks crazy. The reason why the 1,000-foot tribe cooperated with Wei Jiuxian was to regain this power and let the strong in the clan break through to the peak of the gods. Maybe you can use the last force in the world to shatter the void and get the way. Most people would think so. But Jian Wushuang pays attention to conspiracy and then moves. Conspiracy? He has already started to plan. When the 1,000-foot saintess told this secret, he was thinking, why was this power sealed? The ancestor of the Tang dynasty, although an infatuated lover, originally thought that the other party had no hope of ascending. But hearing that the other party can seal the power of the peak of the phase, I am afraid that he is also a super powerhouse on the verge of soaring. With such a character, why didn't he absorb that power himself and directly soar? Either he had no sense of ascension, or because there was a problem with that power, he didn't dare to absorb it, so he had to seal it up. But being discovered by today's Emperor Tang, he wanted to try to absorb that power to soar. For Jian Wushuang, no matter what secret is hidden in this power, he had better get it. So hurry over there. As for the rest of the people who went to it from him, why wait? Yang Xiao now has to wait for Wei Jiuxian, the 1,000-footed holy maiden, and wait for the strong in the clan. Jian Wushuang doesn't have to wait. Since this power is now sealed in the altar, then everyone should use their abilities. Jian Wushuang's words surprised everyone. Thinking of Jian Wushuang's uncanny strength before, I can't help but worry that he chose to take action to get rid of everyone at this time. Don't worry, I'm not good at attacking you. Whether it's Zhan Xianwei or the 1,000-foot tribe, you can wait or go directly. Everyone depends on their abilities. I will never attack you first. Jian Wushuang still has this power, and that power is already within his grasp. With his current power to burn his mind power, he is not his opponent when the gods come, and he is invincible. But he dares to fight. Want to go with me or wait in place? It's up to you to choose. The 1,000-foot saintess and Yang Xiao did not hesitate any longer, and replied, "Go. It is good." Jian Wushuang's thought power instantly wrapped everyone, and his breath was shocked, and he burst into the air in an instant. Without reservation, he walked towards Mongshan County. The speed is so fast that it has reached the peak of infant transformation. This is still because with these people, otherwise it will be faster. They went to Mongshan County with great fanfare. But he didn't know that outside Mongshan County, heavy troops had already been deployed. Emperor Tang launched the final plan, and gathered the entire Qiyang sect, and the powerhouses of the coefficient Zhengxianwei to Mongshan County. Wei Jiuxian couldn't hide such a big move, so he immediately recalled Changfeng, and led half of the immortal Zhanwei to Mongshan County. In addition to the Eastern Land Tang dynasty, there are also the ancient inheritors of the glaciers in the Northern Territory, as well as tribes from all over the wilderness, and the monks in the entire Red Eye realm. At this moment, it seems that they have received news, and they go to the Mongshan County Huehe together. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.